Hello everyone, welcome to the MNLCS. This is going to be week 3, day number 2, with game 1 being between UMD Nova and the UMN Ganked by Gophers. Now we will begin starting Champions Select in just about 15 minutes, but until then we have your color caster and your play caster here today. That is going to be Fen on colorcast and Dreamer on play-by-play. How are you feeling about this game today, Dreamer?
I'm really hoping, to be honest with you, that Nova actually gets a win today. If you do actually go ahead and see on the standings, Nova hasn't won a game today, but that doesn't mean that they're out. Like, I feel like they play really well, and I feel like they can pull something together. They can pull themselves together today and actually get themselves a win, to get on that standing board.
Yeah, that's very true. And also, the Ganked by Gophers are also undefeated as of now, so they do end up winning this game. They will be on an undefeated streak, which would be interesting to see if there is a team that can go undefeated throughout the entire split. But I agree with you, where I'd rather see a team go having not all losses compared to a team being undefeated.
I don't know. Honestly, that'd be really cool if we did see a team undefeated. That means that, they're doing something right, obviously. But I like to play the underdog card. I do like the underdog story. Like, if you ask me anytime, like even with the Super Bowl or something like that, I'm always going to go for the underdog. So that's just me. I'm really hoping that Nova says, hey, you know what? We're going to do great. We're going to be great and, pull out a win for today. That does not mean that Gophers, I don't like you. You guys are undefeated for a reason. So for all I know, you could be like, no, we're just going to keep this undefeated streak going.
Granted, this is only for 2 games so far. So being undefeated for 2 games in a row isn't that impressive. It's only going to be once we hit around mid-season that things will be a little more defined in which team is truly in the top tier.
That's very true. But, I mean, let's be honest now. 2 wins is still 2 wins. You're still undefeated. So you still have that title of, hey, I'm undefeated.
That is an excellent point. And what do you think is going to be going on with things such as Champion Select? So in the last few weeks, we've seen a few newer picks bans. We saw things like a Mundo pop up back on Tuesday. Do you think we'll see any more interesting picks like that? Or do you think people are going to be going with more what's comfort to them and what is really strong in the current meta?
It's always about the meta. That's the unfortunate part, is that the meta is the meta for a reason. So I have to say it's gonna be all meta picks, all like comfort picks. And you know what? Who knows? Maybe some of those comfort picks are gonna be those weird and random picks like the Mundo. I feel like it's gonna be a lot of meta today. I really hope that's not the case. But who knows?
Yeah, I do agree with you. But speaking of meta, what do you think is really shaping the meta right now? For me personally, I see lethality as being the dominant item build, especially with combining Yomu's Ghostblade, Edge of Night, and the Duskblade Drakthar all together with potentially a Black Cleaver and something like Lord Dauntless Regard on the end of the build can provide a massive amount of damage that even if you're a full armor tank, you're not really going to be defending that much damage.
This is very unfortunate, and you're absolutely right. It's all about lethality, and that's kind of just it. A lot of the people that I were talking to, a lot of my friends that play this game that are, platinum, diamond, even masters, they're like, it's all about lethality. Like, anyone can do it. And the sad thing is they're right. Anyone can do it. I've seen a lethality Lulu before. I've seen, it's lethality is a huge thing right now, and that's kind of the only way the AD carries down in the bot lane can even just do is just lethality. You see Varus with a lethality poke build. You see Misfortune with a lethality alt build. Ashe not so much, but she can run that lethality. Every AD carries bringing out that Edge of Night. Even assassins are bringing out the Edge of Night. So it's really unfortunate, but lethality is just kind of here to stay until they nerf it.
I need to double check that again. Did you say you saw a lethality Lulu?
I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to.
I've heard on hit Lulu. I've heard full AP Lulu. I have heard tank Lulu. Never lethality, Lulu. She doesn't even have any AD scalings.
But that's the sad thing, is lethality is everyone can do it. Everyone can use lethality even if you don't have those AD scalings for any of your abilities. Like I mean, I can't say anyone can do it. There are like a few exceptions to champions that can do it, like
A Momo.
He can't really do a lethality or something like that. But I mean, there's Lulu. I've seen a lethality banana Soraka build. It's I don't know what to say.
To go and throw around those giant bananas. Come on, Soraka. When you go full AD Soraka, it's really fun. Have you never tried it?
Oh, it's fun. It's hilarious. I love it. I know if I'm going Soraka, and if I'm playing like something funny, I'm gonna go Soraka mid and then just roam around, give people heals, and walk away. That's literally what I do, is just emergency Soraka or ambulance Soraka and just run around the map, just giving people heals and going back to my lane.
Yeah, that is quite a fun playstyle. And you mentioned that there was a very large amount of champions that can utilize lethality well, but who do you think are the biggest offenders? For me personally, I see Graves, Kha'Zix, Rengar, a lot of the assassin heavy burst champions being the largest offenders. Even Talon and Zed have been seeing a lot of rise back into popularity just because of the pure raw strength of these items.
We just gotta stop talking about this. That's just how it is. And you're right. It's just the strength of the items, and it's either you nerf the items or you nerf the champions. And honestly, I feel like you have to nerf the items. But then what's gonna happen is if you take down lethality or you nerf it to the point where it's not gonna work, then you're screwing over the AD carries. And AD carries are in a terrible position right now. Like, it's very terrible. And even the next patch that's coming up, I think it's like Warlords is getting nerfed. The Mastery is getting nerfed. So they're just dwindling ADCs more and more and more. So if you take the lethality build away from them, it's kind of like you're saying there's no point of AD carries anymore. So go ahead.
Granted, the biggest thing that was always offending AD carries in the previous patches was the immense amount of damage that could be put onto anyone through masteries, through those multiplicative numbers. You saw the percentage increases on everything. And if you look at the mastery changes that are on the PvE and is going into the next patch, nearly every single mastery that had damage amplification is being reduced by about half, which means that all of that damage amplifying for the early and mid game stages are being cut completely, which means that the early game snowball style that we have seen throughout this meta is going to be far weaker, and people are going to want that late game assurance that old crit build AD carries used to have. So I feel like we're going to be seeing returns of people such as Tristana, Jinx, the more hyperscaling champions that can clean up team fights in the late game that you don't really care about protecting in the early to mid game. You just let them farm and do their own thing. But then once it hits late game, you do everything you can to keep them safe so that they can do their job. And that's what I imagine things are going to end up being with the next patch when lethality is getting nerfed. It's not getting nerfed by its raw numbers, but it's getting nerfed by making the other items weaker in raw AD and raw protection value.
Okay, but then here's the question, is what's going to happen to the AD carry in that? And the only reason why I'm throwing this question out is because I am an AD carry main. So, and even that is like, it really hurts. Like, I can't really do much except with lethality build. So it's like, what's going to happen to those AD carries? What's going to happen that these items are getting nerfed, these masteries are getting nerfed and everything like that? It's like, what is going to happen to them?
Honestly, I feel like the entire game as a whole is going to shift more towards to a mid to late game pace rather than the early game pace that has been for the last half a year or so. And that's where I think the crit item AD carries are going to get a rise. We'll see a lot more protective type teams. We'll see again like the tank top and tank jungle again within the meta with hyperscaling carries and then a heavy roaming support that can try and snowball someone if it's possible, but not really have a massive focus on it.
So you're saying that carries like Jinx, Lucian?
Jinx, Twitch. Lucian could be a good counter to those because he's very strong early game still. So he could be the counter to those for lane specifically. But I feel like what we will see in competitive play is going to be mostly those hyperscaling AD carries that give you the late game assurance that you want when you can't snowball game out of control.
All right. Well, I guess we're going to have to see what happens there. I mean, that'd be really good to see those hyper carries again, like the Tristana, like the Jinx, like the Twitch.
I think the last time we ever saw them truly in competitive was back in like season 5. Because I don't remember seeing them show up in season 6 that much. It was mostly early mid game AD carries that are showing up, such as Lucian and Ezreal, and then Ashe and Jhin.
Well, Jhin is just amazing. Like when Jhin came out, it was like when Lucian came out. Jhin was just consistently played. Lucian was consistently played for such a long time that it was everyone thought for him to be the number one AD carry. If you had a Lucian, you automatically win. And it's kind of like the same concept with Jhin, is that he has the utility to snare. He has the damage that with his 4th auto. He has all this. He has a little bit of everything, except he is kind of an escapeless carry. But even then, getting those crits just grants you movement speed. So he's not as escapeless as he claims to be. So, I mean, we're just gonna. I feel like Jhin is definitely gonna stay if your prediction is true about going into that late game comp again. But I mean, I do want to see the Jinx. I do want to see everyone coming back again. That would actually be fun.
Yeah, that would be really fun, because again, we mentioned we haven't seen in quite a while, and it is nice to see the teams act more in a cohesive style as compared to before. And I'm also curious as to how it would shape other lanes, because we could have tanks in the top lane to be more protective, we could have more engaging tanks in the jungle. Like, I would love to see the return of people like Sejuani in the jungle, because it is fun to see people try and hit those Sejuani ultimates.
I don't know. I don't think I would like Sejuani, to be honest. Like, obviously Sejuani is really good with CC, but I don't think so. I don't want to go back to at least this is me personally, I don't want to go back to that tanky jungler kind of playstyle. Maybe a bruiser jungler would be nice, because Sejuani and Amumu and everyone like that, they have their niches. They have the CC that needs to happen for those early ganks and everything like that. But with how, if a late game comp goes or comes out, I don't think they're going to be really useful. But we are getting into the draft, so we will see what happens. We will talk about that in a later time. Azir is going to be the first ban for today.
Really, an Azir ban? I'm a little surprised to see the Azir ban.
Is that a ban against Parker? I wonder.
That's what my guess is.
That is understandable. LeBlanc is, definitely deserves that ban.
I am forsaken.
Definitely interesting that the VAR. I mean, that's not actually interesting. A Varus ban, it's either kind of a pick or ban thing. Is like if Jhin gets picked, you pick Varus, or if Varus gets picked, you pick Ashe. So you're kind of like getting rid of the triangle right now between Jhin, Ashe, and Varus. So I guess they don't want that Varus right now, and I mean that's completely understandable.
Yeah, that is understandable, because you could always pick, as you mentioned, Jhin or Ashe in order to compensate. And Jhin is generally seen as more powerful than Ashe. So if you get the first pick on Jhin, then you're guaranteed you're going to have the stronger bot lane matchup. But I feel like with the way the meta is, I think a mid lane pick would be a better priority pick. And that's going to be a Thresh ban against Wiki. Okay.
And a Camille ban coming from the other side as well. Camille did end up getting nerfed with a few nerfs here and there, but I guess they do not want to see Camille at all, even with the nerfs. And Kha'Zix is going to be the last ban as well, getting a bunch of nerfs with this last patch, but they definitely, yet again, don't want to see that. And
first pick Graves.
First pick Graves. Either that's going to be either the jungle Graves or an AD carry. I have seen AD carry Graves lately, so I'm not counting that out just yet.
Yeah, he's been seen as really strong against Jhin, just because he can jump in and burst Jhin before he has any time to retaliate. Same thing with Varus. The only person for an AD carry he would have trouble with, I imagine, would be Ashe, because Ashe could easily retaliate with slows and her enchanted crystal arrow.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm wondering what they're going to do, because if this is an AD carry Graves, they probably will not be expecting it, and it looks like they want to go for a Rengar in the jungle, potentially, that is just being hovered.
That is just being hovered at the moment. Are gonna. Oh, Caitlyn is also getting hovered. Actually, Caitlyn is gonna go ahead and get picked as well as a Rengar. So the Caitlyn Rengar are gonna be picked up for the Gophers, and Nova is up for picking right now. Caitlyn is a safe pick. I do like the Caitlyn picks. Caitlyn is definitely safe. Don't have to worry about it. But it does look like that is going to be a Graves jungle, as Ashe did just get picked up for Nova right now. So we will see what happens or what other champion is going to get picked for the moment. But I want to go back to that Caitlyn pick. Caitlyn is very safe. Caitlyn is, with the traps, with, the longest natural attack range of all the carries. And I like the pick. I definitely like it a lot.
Yeah, and we also see a Scion lock-in. Now, we have seen both Scion top and Scion support within solo queue, so I'm wondering where he is going to go. If that is a Scion support, he would be fairly good against a Caitlyn just because he could easily eat up her basic attacks for the harass since he has the shield in his W. But I'm not sure if that could apply any real pressure in lane. And we see a Talia it's a lot of hovering right now.
He's just messing around. Parker's just messing around, hovering over everything just to see what he can get out of it. But it does look like never vote yes is locked or hovering around that Shen, and we do see I like the Shen pick. Victor is going to be the pick though for Parker
and then also Shen.
Shen is definitely picked up for sure.
And I love that Shen pick just because if you have Rengar ulting and then you use Shen ult on top of the Rengar, it guarantees a massive shield for the Rengar as he's diving the backline. And you're also getting a free Shen delivery service because they do not see that shield as it's coming. The only way they could, if they saw Shen as he's doing the ult animation and then just saw that none of the visible teammates had it on them, so they would just have to use rule of thumb to go, it must be on Rengar, we gotta run.
That's very true. But it does look like we do have a Tam Canch being picked up, or not picked up, being hovered around right now. And Ari is getting picked for Nerf Akali, please. So Ari versus the Victor is going to happen. Tahm Kench is going to be picked up for Nova. And the last pick for Gophers is going to be that Blitzcrank.
So if they decide to put the Tahm Kench into the support role, that could really mess up the Blitzcrank attempt, because if you have fast enough reflexes as Tahm Kench, you can actually swallow your ally mid-hook. Like, it won't finish the hook, it'll literally just pull them out of it. So I'm wondering if we'll see Cripple being able to have that amount of reaction time necessary, or if you'll just go for counter engages, since Tahm Kench is also known as being a really sticky support that can do plenty of damage to people once he hits that mid to late game stages and has a lot of health stacked up.
Well, that definitely was going to be a Tahm Kench support, so he is going to be I'm going to protect my carries, all around, as well as be able to stun, lock, be that tank that needs to happen. But we are going to go ahead and see a Scion Graves, Ari, Ashe, and Tahm Kench for Team Nova, and Shen, Rengar, Victor, Caitlyn, and the Blitzcrank for Gophers.
Yeah, and I really like how both these teams have an opportunity with global mobility spells, where you can basically have a dual delivery service with the Rengar Shen, but then you also have the delivery service on Nova's side with Tahm Kench and whoever else decides to join him. Which
would most likely be that Shen, or not Shen, the Scion. Scion will definitely just be able to say, hey, I'm going to come in, I'm going to get in that back line and just be tanky. So the two tanks are out there while Ari and Graves are just kiting around, and Ashe just stuns and slows whoever needs to, gets close enough for her auto attack range.
I feel like they could also save it for some very sneaky plays where they could have it where it's like they're pushing as a group, but then a team fight breaks out and things start getting a little hectic, and they quickly have the Tahm Kench and Ashe just ult away to a different tower and apply pressure over there while they're sieging. That way they can just simply rotate around as Caitlyn's traps are being placed, because that is going to be the biggest threat if Nova gets a lead and wants to siege, is that you cannot just ignore the Caitlyn traps. You have to acknowledge them. You have to eventually walk through them, take a lot of front load damage. And unless if you have really high armor like Scion probably will, or Tahm Kench, who could also just simply eat it up and then recover most of it due to his E, you're kind of stuck just taking a lot of the harass and trying to burst on the tower before you can get more traps back up.
Well, I do like just both team comps right now. Both teams are really running that just 5-man we want to fight team. But Caitlyn by herself does have that siege potential with the cupcakes and everything like that. But you also have to remember that Ari and Victor do have extremely good wave clear, as well as Graves being able to just use his Q and clear the wave just like that. Even Sion can be pushing minions away, so that siege potential might not be as good with the team that Nova has produced.
Sion himself has one of the best wave clears out of any top laner, just because every single one of his abilities has an AoE potential, plus very high base values. And the reason why they have high base values is because they are really well telegraphed, and so they have the ability to have high damage if you can land them. It's just landing them on a champion is really difficult. Landing it on a minion that walks along a telegraphed path and usually sits still, it's not nearly as hard.
You're right. All right, well, we do have about 20 minutes until our delay
20 seconds.
is... Yeah, about 20 seconds until our delay is finished up. I do want to ask for your opinion, though. Who do you think is going to win just by looking at this team comp? And if you want to throw the standings in, who do you think is going to win between the both of them, Nova or Gophers?
So, without considering standings, I want to say I like Nova more, just because I really like Graves' jungle. Rengar just got nerfed. Graves hasn't been touched, and he got massive buff indirectly through the lethality buffs. And I also like the Ashe pick over the Caitlyn pick. Those are my main two reasons.
Okay.
Trying to compare Ari versus Victor, Sion versus Shen, or Tahm Kench versus Blitz, so that's purely skill matchup. But going by the general numbers of how things run, Ashe can normally beat a Caitlyn, just because Enchanting Crystal Arrow is so powerful that it gives you a free engage, free pick, where Caitlyn doesn't have the free mobility to really dodge it. She could try and net away, but the actual likelihood of that happening is very slim because you move barely any number of units. I believe it's only like 300 units away with the nets. It's just enough to get over a wall.
All right, well, because I am the traditional caster to do this, I will go ahead and go against you. I do actually have plenty of reasons. Rengar, even though he did get nerfed, is that assassin that he needs. If he gets started, it's all over. Blitzcrank being able to pull anyone and make their comp into a pick comp is just amazing in and of itself. And Victor does so much damage, especially since he has that cleanse. I feel like it's going to be in favor of Ganked by Gophers.
Yeah, which I'll agree with you when we look at standings, because as we mentioned before, Ganked by Gophers is undefeated, while Nova has yet to win a single game. So when I consider standings, I'll agree with you that I think Ganked by Gophers is going to win it. It's just that if I think it was two people where it's you copy-paste the same exact players, same exact composition, I would give it to Nova, but we both gave our reasons. For now, we are loading into the game. Let us see how this starts up, and from what I can see, there are no really weird keystone masteries that stick out that I want to point out, so don't really have a need to discuss that. I am interested to see what some of these starting items are going to be, because I've never really seen a Shen vs Sion matchup, so I want to know what you would want to pick against that.
Well, we do see the Shen with the Corrupting Potion, and then, Sion with the Corrupting Potion, and Shen with the Dorn Shield and the one pot. But we did see Ganked by Gophers is going to go ahead and try to do the normal Blitzcrank, pull and grab and waste and flashes and everything invade. But it didn't work because wards. Wards are beautiful.
Yeah, in Pepsi, we do see a lot of very well pulled off ward coverage in order to protect yourself, especially against Blitzcrank. Whenever you are in the early game against a Blitzcrank and he is not seen in lane, you gotta place wards. It's simply what you need to do, otherwise you are under massive threat that you either will have to give up minions or your own life. It's basically one or the other, unless if you are really good at dodging hooks that come from the Fog of War. But either way, the lane phase is just about to start up. We will see how these champions are going to be interacting, and I really want to see whether or not they go very aggressive early on, or if this is just going to be a farm-heavy game.
Well, we do see that Victor is actually going to go ahead and do a little bit of poking at the Ari. He does end up getting his Q and the auto attack, the enhanced auto attack after that. Bliss is actually going to go ahead and grab onto the Ashe and do a lot of damage with Caitlyn's empowered auto attack right there. Going down to half health and having to use the pot right away.
Yeah, with the pot, well, that's only one of 3 pots because we see the Ashe going with a longsword 3-pot route, which suggests that she's going to be going for some lethality early on, and we already see Never Vote Yes hitting level 2, and they're going very heavy on her.
Wow, both exhausts going off right away, and Blitz actually end up going down. The heal is going off as well, but they are going to be going and getting away from that. But the Scion and the Shen are doing a lot of damage to each other as well, and this is just a blood-shedding game right here. We're seeing a lot of people trying to fight each other and get that early advantage for either lane.
And speaking of advantages, we can also take a look at the junglers real quick. We can see that literally Potato decided to go with a full clear route. He'll probably go into his Krugs next, but he cleared the entire bot side, went to the Raptors, and now is at his red buff. Meanwhile, we see that Xyx only took red, skipped his Raptors, went straight to Wolves, then Blue, and is only now doing Grom. So he will be slightly behind in terms of camps tanking compared to literally Potato, but he'll be much healthier to potentially gank top lane here, especially since we see that Spliffy is pushing up really early. So this is actually a little bit dangerous.
No, he is pushing up a lot, and we do see that Graves is coming up. He's going to try to do a little loop around because Shen did not ward for himself. And there it is. He does end up seeing him. He is going to get actually stunned up, but he's going to flash away. And that's a flash down. That was very close for the Shen, but Spiffy will get away with his life. But that is, like we said, a flash down. So he's probably going to have to teleport back. So that is no summoners. Most likely no Yep, there it is. There's a teleport. So no summoners for the top lane right now. So that's an easy return gank for Graves.
Now, the entire time that happened, we saw that literally Potato backed, got his Skirmisher Saber, and is now preparing to set up the Scuttle and Dragon, looking towards bot side, even though his team is currently pushed.
Oh no! Oh! Ash is actually going to get caught right there, and the Tom Pinch will be able to save. Or the. Oh no, the flash! That was so sad! But First Blood is going over to Ganked by Gophers.
Yeah, that was an excellent execution because I don't think they actually saw where Snowcane was during that time. So that was a blind hook by Wiki, I believe. We would have to look back in order to double check that. But that was an excellent hook, followed by literally Potato just being right there to do an immense amount of damage onto Snowcane, with Never Vote Yes getting the final shot from the from her Q.
Yep.
Now, I'm wondering just how much damage to be able to get onto this turret. It's doubtful they'll be able to take it, but if they overstay, they may get ganked by Xyx, who we see down here taking his Krugs right now, but he could easily walk around because it is unwarded in that Tri-Brush.
That is very true, but it does look like they're going to go ahead and back up a little bit and make sure
they do have a ward now.
Actually warding up that Tri-Brush, so he's not going to have to worry about that. There is so much aggression up in this top lane. Shen is just trying his hardest to just bully onto the Scion, and Scion is retaliating with the amount of bullying right back. I feel like right now I don't even know anything that's going on in mid right now. Mid, you're not special at the moment. Actually, that's not true. Well, no. Ari actually ended up losing half of her health, you know, to a blood from the Victor.
But that is with the exception of Victor losing most of his mana, and just looking at the top lane, we actually missed it, but OLOXO ended up burning his teleport just to get back in the top lane. Not really sure why. He was actually pushed in back when he teleported into the lane, so he probably could have saved it. I feel like he just didn't want to lose too much experience in comparison to Shen, because being level 6 Shen, he's going to have a lot of map pressure, and you want to have that level 6 as well with Scion, since you will want your unstoppable onslaughts.
That's true, but as I say, it's all about sitting a mess. That's practically what it was. We do see that Shen and Scion are actually 6, so any engages that do happen around the map will be saved, at least for the Scion. Scion is gonna, you know, not having that teleport is not gonna be able to do much, but Shen does have his Stand United, so we are gonna see him just roaming around the map. Actually, Graves is down here doing a little bit of damage, trying to see what they can do. Licky will go ahead and actually use his Q, ends up hitting it, doesn't really do much with it, and missing the hook. So nothing really, a little bit of damage, a little bit of, you know, aggression for the bot lane, but nothing really came out of that.
Yeah, and that was actually very risky right there with the way that they played that out, just because you were going near the tower of a Blitzcrank who could pull you under, and if they didn't dodge that hook, that could have been a potential death. And now we see that top lane's having even more aggression. However, Aloxo is out of mana. He is chugging the Corrupting Potion though, so he should have some pretty soon.
Oh, he has a good amount. He is definitely using a lot of his Qs to make sure that he can pressure the Scion out. And, oh, Rengar is here at the bot lane using his ult. Are they gonna... Nope. Oh, he actually is gonna go ahead and try to do some damage. He gets exhausted, but he's not taking any damage from the turret. And the rest of the team is actually down here.
Oh, that's the Stand United!
Oh, the Stand United wasn't able to go through. Blitzcrank is gonna go ahead and die to the Ahri. And Ahri is actually trying her hardest. The heal's coming out for the Caitlyn. Charm is coming out as well. The Licky's gonna shoot, and the ultimate from Graves is going to secure the Caitlyn kill.
Did you say the Licky?
Licky. That's Tom Kench for you.
Okay, fair enough. But that was a very quick burst onto the Rengar. Funny enough, if Tom Kench did not devour him, Rengar would have died faster because he had turret aggro. So by devouring him, he took the turret aggro off, passed it on to someone else. So technically that is what killed Blitzcrank. But it was a risky move because if Shen got the Stand United off,
I'm
that
stop
really
you right there. That's a lot of damage going. Shen is actually down here doing a little bit of, oh, Blitzcrank is actually going to go ahead and get the secure kill onto Graves with that pull. Victor's down here as well, doing a lot of damage to the Ahri. Ahri's actually going to go ahead and die to the ultimate. Licky's going to have to run away. The exhaust onto the Ashe. Ashe is going to get shot. Oh, pulled up. Oh, does so much damage. He's going to try, and he doesn't get through. Oh, and the pull almost actually getting the Tom Kench. But that was a dragon for almost everyone in that case. I don't think Shen actually died in that scenario. So I want to say a 4. He did die, so a 5 for 3 and a dragon.
Yeah, you can see the one death on Shen right there.
You're absolutely right. I did not actually end up seeing that.
He ended up dying right when he teleported in. Sadly, he got caught out immediately by the charm, I believe it was. But that entire time, you can see that Aloxo is putting a lot of pressure into the top lane. The turret is well shoved up, and there's a fair bit of damage on it. And he is sitting near the bot lane with his ultimate ready, and he's going to be protecting Xyx right here.
Oh, there's so much damage going on to that! Blitzcrank is so close to actually getting the kill onto the Graves, but everyone is down there! Everyone on Nova is down on that bot side, and Graves lives with a sliver of health. But that is another 2 kills going over to Nova.
What's interesting though is that Nova has the kill advantage, they have the Dragon advantage, but they're down 1 turret, and a lot of CS that is actually making them behind in gold overall by roughly 1.5k. Now that may not sound like a lot, but most of that gold is actually piled up onto the Caitlyn right now, roughly enough to give her a BF sword over Ashe, which is immense.
Ashe does actually have her BF sword for herself, but Caitlyn does end up actually buying into her Berserker Greaves right away. A lot of damage going onto this Ahri, and a lot of damage reciprocated from the Victor as well. So, oh, but Blitzcrank is here trying to
Cripple's here too. He is here, ready to devour if need be.
Yeah, that is very true. Both supports are in the mid lane. Both mid laners are trying to do damage. They're trying to get that, you know, mid lane turret, but nothing is going to go ahead and come out of it.
Yeah, and I feel like
he's actually doing a lot of damage to the Shen right now.
He is, but Blitzcrank is coming up, so right now there's a lot of risk.
He's actually going to go ahead and pick up the Graves. Graves is going to have to dash away. He's actually going to go ahead and destroy Shen. Shen had nothing to work with on that.
Shen also has no teleport, so if they shove this in, they will be able to get a decent amount of damage on the turret, or at least force. But
there we go. Akali, or sorry, nerf Akali, please. We'll go ahead and delete Victor as he's trying to go away and, you know, buy some items.
Now, Potato is on the sidelines, looking like he's ready to ult. Will he dive?
Does it look like it? He's not going to be able to dive or do anything with that. The teleport from the Scion was canceled as well, so Sion does not have his teleport for a little bit longer.
He ended up running right past that pink or the control ward, which got him spotted. And then Nerfagali Please got an excellent charm in order to deter him, because I feel like if that missed, he could have actually dove. Rengar has quite a bit of early game damage.
Oh, he definitely would have been able to do a lot of damage.
Oh, there's the answer from Sion!
Oh, Sion's actually not going to be able to do anything with that. He's going to go ahead and slow. The Enchanted Crystal Air is going to miss. Caitlyn is trying to dodge everything for going to go ahead and place a cupcake. Oh, Tom Kench is actually going to go ahead and stand right next to the blast cone, not doing anything. Graves is going to go ahead and try to get away.
Oh, this is such a long chase!
So much damage! And oh, the Caitlyn ult's going to come out right there, not do anything, or not being able to kill the Graves. Graves almost died to the Rift Herald.
Ooh, but now Blitz is caught.
Blitz is going to go ahead and get 2 of the stacks on from Licky Licky's passive, but nothing else is going to come out of it. That was a very, very narrow escape from the Caitlyn, but she does end up getting out of there.
Man, these are actually pretty exciting games to watch.
Oh my god, there's so much more happening! Shen is going to actually go ahead, stand united. There's Tom Fish is going to be having to pop his E, and so much damage actually onto the Red Guard. Red Guard's going to die to the Ash, and there's so much more damage coming out. Akali's going to go ahead and get the kill, and Shen is still almost dead as well.
But Victor on the sideline, he will be able to clear this wave.
The comment to the mid. Stop with the fighting.
Stop it, you bad fans!
From Graves almost ends up killing the Shen, but so close to not do it, and it was so close. Such a sliver.
But here's the thing though, that entire time we see OLOXO just in the top lane shoving against that turret, gain a lot of damage onto it, and it should actually be going down pretty soon. I was going to take a quick look and see what his HP is at. Oh yeah, no, that turret's very low. It's going to be going down really soon. This next wave should be...
Oh my god! So much damage from the Victor coming out! They actually tried to get the Caitlyn with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. And we're going to see, yes, a triple kill going on to Parker. And that actually might help Ganked by Gophers a lot, having 3 kills onto their Victor.
And this should be a tower for tower trade now, because we did see OXO get the top lane tower, so this will be a tower for tower trade, but also 3 kills going onto Victor, which that is a 4-1 Victor with 122 CS now. That is a massive lead over this Ahri. Granted, the actual total gold lead that they have differentiating between them is only 700, so it may look like it should be lots, but it's actually not that much. However, they are
going ahead and see Gophers is going to go ahead and try to grab onto this mountain, as well as, you know, the rest of the team. The rest of the team is going to try. No, they're not. Sorry, they're not going to go ahead. Nova is not going to go ahead and do anything with it. So Gophers is going to go ahead and get that Mountain Drake for free, as well as Nova's red buff as well. We do see Rengar, before that, stealing onto the red buff.
Now, as I mentioned before back in Champion Select, the Caitlyn is an excellent pick for sieging, and adding a Mountain Dragon to that only makes it a much bigger threat, because the moment she gets onto a tower, she will probably not only need 1 to 2 waves to actually do the damage she needs to take it down. Especially because you also have a Rengar who's going to do a lot of damage to towers, and a Victor, who normally, as we actually see right now, is going to be building a Lich Bane. He'll do excellent work. However, we do see Sion ulting into the Shen. He burns his flash.
He burns the flash for everything. He's actually trying to get out of there. Ahri is going to go ahead and burn the flash right there as well. There's so much damage. He's actually going to go ahead and live. With the
Wait, no, Tom Kench from below.
Oh, but Graves is going to say, no, you're not living this time. And Blitz is also getting caught out as well. And that's a double kill going on to Graves.
They could easily transition to the mid lane. It looks like OLOXO wanted the Riptail just a little bit, but however, going for this mid tower is going to be a much bigger advantage, because it's going to be giving them a lot of gold, especially because they can potentially push into tier 2 as well. However, they are still against a Victor and a Caitlyn, which will make it difficult. They'll have to go for a pick on one or the other with the Enchanted Crystal Arrow in order to secure the tower.
You also have to remember that Rengar is around. He is kind of hovering around the Toucans, and not really, they do see him, so they're gonna go and try to go grab this Rift Herald, most likely giving it over to the Sion.
Looks like they're trying to contest it, and actually I could also imagine Graves getting it, trying to look for picks in the jungle by himself, because with the amount of burst that Graves will have, adding a Glimpse of the Void onto that is going to be a much bigger threat.
There's the ultimate, like you said, there it is with the Shen and the Rengar. But nothing is coming out of it. The ultimate. Oh, there he goes, going onto the Ahri. Ahri just gets the lead.
Oh my god!
He's about to get the lead. No, he's actually alive. He's still in there with Victor's being able to get everyone in this side is going down. Ash is dead, and now it looks like they're trying to get the Tom Kench. Tom Kench is gonna have to pop this E. He is gonna get clipped for just a second, but the flash is coming in, and that is an ace going over to Ganked by Gophers.
Ace. And that's also going to be mid tower going down because that is almost a full minion wave with, again, a Mountain Dragon onto both the Victor and Caitlyn. Could they potentially go for this inhib too? We do see that Ari is coming back up and Grace will be up in about 3 seconds. It doesn't look like they could one try for it. They'll get some damage, but not commit.
No, definitely not. They do end up getting... I mean, they did get 5 for none and in the mid tower as well, so that is completely fine for a trade. As well as Shen did end up saving the second tier tower up in the top lane from excessive minion damage.
Yeah, and the issue was by UMD Nova is that they were not decisive in exactly what they wanted to do. They started out hovering towards the Rift Herald, looking like they wanted to do it with OloXO and Xyx, but then they all rotated towards the mid tower, saw that Victor was still there, decided they didn't want to risk that, just because Victor still had his cleanse up, so even if he hit him with Chance of Crystal Arrow, he would be able to simply just walk away, either Burn Flash or a cleanse. And then they went back to Rift Herald, just wasting so much time, and now we actually see that Caitlyn's in trouble.
Oh, Caitlyn's actually doing a lot of damage. Is actually going to go ahead and almost kill the Ashe with a sliver of health right there herself. With that red buff going, or that Tom Kench now has, was on the Caitlyn and almost, like I said, killed the Ashe with that 2v1. Rengar is going to come in. Oh, but was that the Enchanted Crystal Arrow coming out?
That
right
was.
That was interesting. That interesting little interaction right there. But Ashe is going to go ahead and get away with her life. But that was almost very scary for Ganked by Gophers, and we do see a lot of damage going on to the Silence. Simon is going to go ahead and get pulled into there. A lot of CC, but Tom Kench is now here in the mid, and it does look like, nope, Blitz is going to go ahead and flash away. They're going to try to do as much damage as they can, and they will get Blitzcrank down and out. And it is all 5 of Nova trying to get this mid. And if they're smart, they can actually go ahead and try to get dive. But we do see the Caitlyn coming in right now. Caitlyn's doing a lot of damage. Flash going onto the Caitlyn.
Stand United!
It's not the Stand United, but it's actually going to go ahead and get... Grace is going to get the kill onto Ashe, while Victor gets the kill onto Tom Kench. So a 1-for-1 trade right there, but Stand United did not finish.
It didn't finish, but we do see that Spliff is going to be getting down here in time. He's already at the Toucan camp, and it'll only be a matter of time before he finishes his path down to the mid lane. Granted, I feel like you could easily pressure top tower in order to draw OloXO there and keep him at bay. But it looks like he wants to join his team instead. We can see that both Spliffy and OloXO have Sunfire Cave completed. Even though I'm actually surprised because Shen deals a lot of magic damage through his Q, so I'm kind of surprised that Sion was okay just going through with a Sunfire Cave first. My guess is it was to stop the Rengar and Caitlyn damage mostly, however... He'd even pick up a bit of magic resist aside from the null magic mantle.
Yeah, you are right with that. But I mean, he is gonna have to go ahead and pick up a lot of magic resist because Victor is 7-1-2 right now, doing a lot of damage with his Hextech core. He has a perfect core now, so he has all 4 upgrades to his abilities. And Blitz trying to get that hook again, not really landing this time. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to come onto the Caitlyn. Caitlyn is going to try to do as much damage as he can. And, yep, there he goes. I was like, wait a moment, there's nothing really happening right
but
there.
Snoken is also very chunked out. She will not be able to really stay comfortably because one more death ray from the Victor will kill her. So she will have to back out. And we also see that Witty Parker almost has the Lich Bane completed, which the moment he does is going to be a massive spike in power, just because you're going to have even more movement speed on the Victor. You have a lot more damage from his Qs, and also Rengar ulting in. Who's he going to pick?
He is going to get caught by that charm, not really do anything about it, but they are going to go ahead and stick together. They can't really do anything. Rengar can't pick anyone right there. He wants it. He sees it. He wants it, but he's not going to be able to do anything, which is going to expire right then and there.
Yeah, and that is one of those Rengar nerfs that we saw in the most recent patch. It reduced the duration by quite a bit in the early game and late game stages, so that you can't really just sit there for a long time waiting for your target to become available. You actually have to make your decision fast now. And it looks like they're looking for a pick with OloXO going onto the Victor.
He tried to go onto the Victor, did not do anything with it. The cleanse is going to come out, the Stand United as well. Tom Kinch is gonna go ahead and devour one of. Oh, the flash! I'm sorry, the flash came in, and Graves has just got deleted in a heartbeat by all the entirety of Ganked by Gophers.
They could easily rotate onto this dragon now. They have the advantage, they have the pressure. They do not have the ward coverage though. That is the key thing that they're missing right now, so they have to be careful.
Oh, they don't need the ward coverage. You see that Blitz? He's just gonna stay right there. He's like, nope, you guys aren't gonna do anything about it. That's another dragon going to Ganked by Gophers, and this one being an ocean, so that just even adds more siege potential to their comp, with them not really having to worry about mana or health as long as their ocean is on.
Yeah, and one thing we can see is that right now Caitlyn and Shen are not Shen. Caitlyn is rotating towards top lane. She'll be taking down that top turret, finishing it off so that all the outer turrets for the Nova side will be down, which will be increasing this gold differential even further. Right now, at 23 minutes into the game, we see about 5,000 gold separating these teams. Now, Olivexo is here to defend. He has a good amount of wave clear, but it looks like he just wants to harass instead and threaten, even though it's now 1v3, 1v4 make that.
Oh, that is super unfortunate. He is going to go get pulled, and he is going to go down as well. They're going to try, he's going to try his hardest and actually, whoa, I'm sorry, what just happened? Victor? Victor is going to go ahead and take the Graves, but Rengar is going to return, or is going to get caught by the Ahri. So it is a 2-for-1, but that's very unfortunate. Graves just got deleted just by the Victor himself.
It was Victor's Shen. Shen got the taunt onto Graves, and then Victor one-shot him. It was kind of funny.
I mean, does he? I'm assuming. I'm looking. Yes, he does have his Lich Bring. So, like you said, that was the power spike. Another hook going onto the Tom Kinch. Tom Kinch is still alive for some reason. There it is. Victor is gonna go ahead and get that empowered Q and take out Tom Kinch.
The Sion ultimate coming in though.
Oh, Sion ultimate is coming in right now. The tower is gonna go down. Another taunt going over, and Shen is gonna get. Actually gonna live for a little bit longer. They're gonna go on to the Victor. Victor is so close to death.
There's the heal.
There is the heal. He is gonna go ahead and live to see another day, and that was so close. Sion was almost able to get the Victor with just his asset.
Take the blue buff away from Nerf Akali, please.
Oh, I definitely would take it. They had the Caitlyn to take it really easily. Even if it was given to Shen or Blitz, they were still able to take it. So another tower, and I believe that was 2 deaths from Sion and Graves, and that was like, I want to say a 4-for-2 in that scenario, and a tower.
Yeah, and when it comes to giving that blue to a specific champion, I feel like the best one actually would have been Blitzcrank, just because higher CDR, higher mana regen. Oh, Rengar going on to Ahri!
And gonna flash away from that. He was almost able to kill her in one go, but because Graves and Tom Kinch were there, he wasn't able to finish the job.
That was really risky to go for. Now his ultimate is down. It is already a quarter of the way back, though. It has a fairly short cooldown. So he will have it by the next team fight. It's just, he is really playing devil's advocate right here, going for these risky engages by himself. He really should wait for the Shen ultimate to be up, the Stand United, in order to combo them and go for a heavy dive onto these squishy targets.
I don't know about that. I feel like he's doing a good job. It's just he's not picking the right times. We've seen it. He's able to kill the Ahri in a heartbeat. He's able to go onto the Ashe and practically delete her. So I don't see the problem. We do see that Shen is going to go ahead and get ganked on by all 5 members of the team.
But
Shen's living just a little bit longer with his pass with his field. But
that's Baron.
But that is a
Gophers.
Ashe's Bird is going to go ahead and see it. They are doing Baron right now. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow's coming out, and is going to go ahead and hit the Blitzcrank, but does not know anything about the Baron. So that is a Baron for a Shen.
Which, that is easily saying worth for Ganked by Gophers. They're now 10k in the lead. They have a Baron, and let's see what they can use this Baron-empowered advantage to try and further their lead. My guess is that they will be doing a 1-3-1 with the Rengar and the Shen going in side lanes, or they could potentially do a 0-4-1 with Shen going in the bot lane to pressure the bot turrets and everyone else just sieging down mid.
They're definitely going to go for the... I assume they're definitely going to go for the 4-0-1 comp, because Shen is able to go ahead and push and do his own thing.
Versus that 1-0-4.
Yep, his ultimate is up right now, so going down for that mid lane for Ganked by Gophers is the best strategy because they do have the Caitlyn, they do have the Mountain on top of that, and especially with baroned up minions, I don't see them having a problem taking this mid inhibitor turret.
Yeah, and as long as there are minions nearby, Winnie Parker can also proc his Q to get the Lichbane proc onto the towers and deal even more damage, which I feel like the tower's going to go down incredibly fast, unless if Nova can pull something off right here. And it's going to be...
They are going to go ahead and pick on the Caitlyn. Caitlyn is going to be saved by the Stay United. Rengar is actually going to pull his ultimate out. Does a lot of damage, almost more than half to Graves. But Tom Kench is going to go ahead and save him with the Devour. So that is a few ultimates down for Ganked by Gophers, but also a few ultimates down for Nova as well.
Yeah, and I feel like the game is getting close to the ending point just because Baron, Mountain Dragon, and there is going to be another Dragon coming up in just about 30 seconds that is going to be an Ocean Drake. Not going to be too helpful to the teams at this point, but it will help both the Caitlyn and Victor kind of survive the poke that's coming from the enemy team.
Oh, Sion just got pulled in by the Blitzcrank and is going to get deleted right off the bat. He's going to go ahead and try to see if he can do as much damage as he can with his passive, but nothing really came out of it. So that it is now a 4v5, so I don't see them having a problem taking this inhibitor turret now.
Yeah, and that is exactly what they'll be going for. They have the killing trap set in order to defend themselves from a return engage, which they can barely even pull off since OloXO is down. The issue is just getting to that turret.
Oh, the Enchanted Crystal Arrow is going to come out. Ari's going to go ahead and flash as well. Shen is fighting a 3v1, a 4v1 now. And wait a moment, Ari just decided to kill everyone. What? Wait, what just happened?
The only person alive right now is the Rengar, which he just went over to the bot lane and took that turret by himself, which I guess it's a good thing that he went down there, but at the same time, if his presence was there, that would have made it a 4v5, which could have easily put it in the favor of Ganked by Gophers, and they probably could turn that fight around, because now with everyone dead, that's going to be a free Ocean Dragon for Nova. There is no way that Larry Potato is going to be able to contest this by himself.
I do agree with you. He's going to have to let this one go. Zion is going to go ahead and try to ult to see if he can use some damage. They are trying their hardest.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow is almost up, so if they can keep an eye on him. Okay, he's just going to ult away.
Yep, Rengar did ult away. Did actually just use his ultimate, just to get away, like you said. And there goes the Ocean to Nova. So they did kind of pull it back. That Ari being able to take care of both the Victor and the Caitlyn by herself was a huge play that Nova really needed.
Yeah, Nova Kali plays an excellent job right there with that counter engage. And right now it looks like they want to try and catch this Rengar out. He is getting pincered heavily.
Oh my god. Rengar is gonna, yep, he is actually gonna have to flash. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow missed! Barely! Ash is trying to predict where he went, but he did do a little sidestep to see that he is going to live. And that's another thing that Ganked by Gophers is doing that they shouldn't be doing. They're trying to split push, but Nova has been always able to counter that with the Tom Kench ultimate and them just pincering that one person.
Which I feel like the best person, if they're going to try for that, has to be Shen, because he has to teleport, he has to stand united. And frankly, Shen is tanky enough that if you just try and 2v1 him, he should be able to get away and survive for quite a long time. The only person I could see taking him down quickly could possibly be Graves, or this Ashe, once she gets one more item.
Alright, well we do see that Ganked by Gophers is going to go ahead and try to get this inhibitor turret with the two carries and the Blitzcrank. But we do see four members of Nova are going to go ahead and contest this, making sure that they do not come close to this inhibitor turret. And Sion is actually on the side. The Enchanted Crystal Arrow comes out, misses everyone. The Ari is actually going to go ahead and get pulled back, and Ari's going down by the Rengar, and a lot of damage is going up. Winnie Parker is going to go ahead and take another one. Tom Kench is going down as well. A lot of damage. The Graves is going to go ahead, flash away, but he is not going to get out with his life, and that is a 4-for-9 for Ganked by Gophers. They're going to take the inhib and most likely end this game.
Yeah, with only OloXO being up and alive, he will not have enough quick wave clear in order to take down these minions, and he is getting pressured right now. He could be going down.
Oh, he is definitely going down. He, like you said, there's not enough damage, or he is not taking enough either to go ahead and do anything about it. And there's the other tower destroyed. And that looks like game is going over to Ganked by Gophers.
Yeah, game number 1 for today is going to be Ganked by Gophers going down, which is going to mean that they are still undefeated, and sadly, Nova still has yet to win a single game.
Now, I'm not going to say Nova did a terrible job because that was
Oh,
amazing.
no, they did an excellent job.
I was going to say Nova did a fantastic job with ganking, with being able to stop the split push. Ari, I want to give, if we're going to give any MVP to Nova right now, I'm definitely giving it to Nerf Akali, please. Being able to catch their team up with that amazing team fight of the 3v1 and being able to get both carries and the Blitzcrank just dead in a heartbeat. But unfortunately, you know, they did lose, so I'm going to have to give MVP actually over to Witty Parker, and I'm actually going to do a double, giving it to Wiki as well, because without Wiki being able to pull a lot of the teammates, they couldn't really engage. And Witty Parker just destroyed, deleted. It was so much destruction just from him alone, going 12-2 and 7. They definitely deserve that MVP for Ganked by Gophers.
Yeah, and one of the key plays I remember happening was back near Baron. There was a 4-man stun by Witty Parker, followed up by a Chaos Storm, just dealing immense damage and gain. I believe it was a clean ace.
It was definitely, that definitely was the clean ace.
Which I would say that's one of the key plays of the game. The next best one I could see would be near the end when there was the attempted counter engage by Nova, and we saw Wiki pull the Ari mid Spirit Rush back into her team, or back into his team, and guarantee her death, which she was, as you mentioned, the biggest threat from Nova. So without that pull landing, there was a potential for them to turn that fight around. But that is going to be going over the first game. We have game number 2 coming up, which, as you guys can see, it mentions the games that will be coming up next. We do have a new addition to the stream. We have replaced the Twitch chat with a standings list so that you guys can easily see who will be playing next and where all the teams currently sit. Meanwhile, though...
Twitch chat. Rest in peace.
I mean, you guys can still see each other.
Oh, I mean, that was definitely a joke.
Yeah. But that's going to do it for game number 1. We'll be returning in just about 5 minutes to get ready for game number 2. Is there any last words you'd like to say, Dreamer, before we head out for a bit?
Wait, who's playing in game number 2? I think it's Mavericks versus Winona, correct?
Yeah, let me double check. Mavericks
sure
versus Winona.
Okay, so my last comment is Winona.
Oh, it's teasing to our fellow casters from back in week 1. All right, but that will be game number 1. We'll see you guys in just about 5 minutes. We'll be right back.
Did you move?
So hold our heads up high and beat the drum to what we love. Risk the fall, we have felt it all come crashing down from far above. Stars are rising, countless worlds colliding, only one will take it all. Can we bring to fall the giants? Can we make the final call? We are the ones to ignite the darkened skies. The champions of the world that we defy. A solo ride of the few who rise up high, and we all fight at the last light.
Okay, and we are back for game number 2. It is going to be Winona versus Mankato. And last time we saw these teams play, well, obviously these teams haven't played against each other yet, but last time we saw these teams play, it was very interesting games, and I cannot wait to see how they're going to play again this time. When it comes to the standings, we can see that MNSU is right now in the top tier alongside Games by Gophers. Will they stay undefeated, or will they actually find their first loss today? What do you think, Dreamer?
I mean, so far we have Game by Gophers staying undefeated. So, I mean, I don't see why we can't have another team stay undefeated. That's just me. I don't know.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Now, meanwhile, we have Winona staying at a 1-1 record. So I'm curious to see whether or not they'll be going up or down in the standings and breaking some of these ties. Because right now, a lot of the teams are tied up either at 2-0, 1-1, or 0-2. As of this week, we are seeing teams get to that 3-game total mark, which a lot of these ties should be splitting up. And I am really curious whether or not we are going to be seeing bans against some of the champions that we saw as really impactful in the previous games. Like so, we saw Victor and Rengar be very impactful for Ganked by Gophers, but we also saw Ari and Graves be pretty strong for the side of Nova. So I wonder how those are going to be contested.
I mean, like, so the Victor has been a really nice play, and we actually did try to see like an Ari counterplay with the last game that we saw. So I'm most likely going to say that we're going to see another Ari counterplay if a Victor does get picked up once again. But, I mean, who knows? Maybe they're just going to straight up ban Victor and be like, no, we're not going to play this. Or we're not going to let anyone play this.
Yeah, that's true. I would imagine that because of that massive power spike we saw Victor get into. But again, it could be a possible matchup situation where it's simply Victor is just really good against Ari and we didn't realize that.
Sorry, one more time. You cut out really bad for me. Go ahead and say that again.
Oh, sorry about that. I was just saying that for the Victor Ari matchup, it could just be heavily in favor of... Oh, wait, that's weird. It shows get sleeped twice. All right, never mind. This is a visual glitch on my end.
Okay.
Sorry. For some reason, I see get sleeped in both spectate and the player team. So it's like...
Nah, that's definitely a visual thing on your end.
As I was saying, it could just be that Victor is really strong against Ari, and we didn't realize that when we were talking in Champion Select. So it could purely be a matchup thing, where if you took someone such as Veigar, Zed, or someone else that could go full all-in against Victor, that could change the matchup completely and sway how the game would run.
That's very true. I don't know. If I remember correctly, I do know that a few people say that Ari is supposed to not destroy Victor, but does counter Victor. But I do agree, like, if there was like a Veigar or something of the sort, maybe if LeBlanc didn't get banned, that would have been a good pick as well. But if we do say a Veigar or Veigar, however you want to call him, Veigar, however, like I said, however you want to call him, there's so many people that call him different things. Anyways, I would like that pick. Honestly, I would like to see a pick like that. But we are going to go ahead and get into the draft right now with our first ban coming up within the next few seconds. I'm trying to like stall this out to see when the ban is going to come out. But you know what? They're just going to screw me over and say, no, we're not going to ban anything. Until now, Cassiopeia is our first ban for today.
Okay, and Cassiopeia, I'm not surprised with because she is a very strong control mage along the side of other champions such as Ryze, which I'm actually surprised we haven't really seen Ryze in both pick or bans yet today. Just because he is incredibly strong. I am not sure if you have seen what happens when Ryze uses his Runic Prison into his Spell Flux, into his Overload. It's essentially a one-shot late game. And it's guaranteed because they're rooted.
Definitely sounds about right if I were to say anything like that. But we do see the full ban from Varus, Darius, and Cassiopeia being banned away from Winona.
Huh.
As well as there's your Ryze ban right there. Hecarim, Echo, and Ryze being banned on the side of Mavericks.
The Hecarim
first pick once again.
Huh. Some of this is looking very similar to the previous game. Graves first pick. We have a Varus ban on blue side. And, okay, technically that's really the only similarity, but in general, I like how there is the high priority for the Graves, because we mentioned he's a very strong champion right now with the lethality changes, and if you get rid of his opposing competition, such as Hecarim, who's another really strong jungler, and he could easily pick Graves off, just going ultimate in, diving in, and pulling him out exclusively, you could kill him pretty fast. It's just, now he's banned. So you don't have to worry about that, and you can feel free to pick him up really early. And we're actually going to be seeing a Maokai versus Nautilus matchup over in the top lane.
As well as it looks like a Jhin versus the Lucian. And I like the Lucian pickup because Lucian, like we did mention within the last game, is counter pick champion for those late game carries and everything like that. And the Lucian with the lethality build right now is devastating. So I do like the Lucian pickup. And we are going to go ahead and maybe see a Rek'Sai being picked up for the side of Mavericks, which I wouldn't really mind that either because Rek'Sai in a team comp, like in a team environment, is really, really good, honestly. Like I really enjoy a Rek'Sai pick up if I had a 5-man team. So we will see how or who they are going to pick. They are still hovering over the Rek'Sai for the next, 20 seconds, if so.
Yeah, to touch on the Rek'Sai potential pick, I feel like that would be very good at rounding off the team comp that they have started up, because Maokai is more a protective tank rather than an engaging tank, while Rek'Sai is the opposite way around. She is very good at engaging, not that great at protecting, because she doesn't have consistent... never mind, it's a Kha'Zix pickup, don't need to keep talking about that, and we also see Alistar, which, I mean, still fits that whole engaging purpose that we're talking about with Rek'Sai. So now they still have a full engage, they have a diver with Kha'Zix, they have a peeling tank with Maokai, and then they have the backline damage of Jhin. The best way they could round this out is to add in quite a bit of magic damage so that they don't see a Poppy Nautilus. Yeah, they better pick something with magic damage, otherwise that's just going to be a full armor Poppy, full armor Nautilus, and they won't be able to do anything. I don't care if you have lethality.
Hold on, is that a Nautilus support then? Is that what I'm understanding really quick?
Could be jungle.
No, then where's Graves going?
Oh, yeah, wait.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Full AP Nautilus mid. Full AP Nautilus mid. Orianna support.
No. That makes a lot more sense now because the Nautilus is going to go ahead and be the support for. I mean, I have seen Poppy support, so I am not going to rule that out.
Well, that was before her rework, though.
That's also true as well. But we do see the Orianna getting picked up, or the last pickup for Winona. So we do see the kind of engagement comp and the ball carriers for both Nautilus, Poppy, and Graves can be that ball carrier for the Orianna.
I feel like the best one would be Poppy.
Well, it definitely would be Poppy, but you can't say that either with Nautilus being able to pull someone in and being able to just get in that front line right there, or pulling someone in the back line and just being like right there as well. But we are going to go ahead. We do see the Syndra being a potential pick as well, which is good because that's what you were talking about. They need that magic damage of some sort. Victor is another great pick as well, especially because he has that wave clear. And that's honestly what I would have thought of would be the best the best thing to round out their team is a wave clear champion. They kind of don't have that.
Also wave clear. Syndra's also wave clear, but she requires a lot more mana for it, is the issue.
That's very true, but she's also that press hard to win character as well.
Yes, she'd be great for picks, which that is who they decided to lock in, and it looks like they're pretty much a pick composition. Now, I mean, I'm sure it's just a joke right now, but they still have, they're still having Alistar on jungle and Kha'Zix in the support spot for a little bit, but they did change it up. I was like, you guys are joking. There's no way you're going to do Kha'Zix support Alistar jungle.
All right, but I was right. It is going to be the Nautilus support going onto the side of Winona. So it is going to be the Poppy versus the Maokai, Graves versus Kha'Zix, Orianna versus Syndra, Lucian versus Jhin, and Nautilus versus the Alistar down in that bot lane.
What I like about this, the Poppy denies the dive and the engage because Alistar requires his dash, his headbutt, in order to engage. Poppy's steadfast can easily stop that. You literally just pop it.
It stops the Kha'Zix, stops the Maokai, stops the Alistar.
No, it doesn't stop Maokai. Maokai's untargetable, so he goes through.
Is he really? I could have sworn that stopped it.
No. He is untargetable during the duration of it. You technically damage him as he comes out. So it doesn't stop it, it just hurts him.
Huh.
If I remember correctly.
Okay, we're most likely gonna see that happen. some point in this game, so we will be looking out for that because I could have sworn that did stop him. But you're right, it does stop the Kha'Zix, it does stop the Alistar, especially because Alistar could be that heavy engaged champion that we were talking about, with Maokai being like the supporty kind of peel off the carry kind of thing, and Kha'Zix being in the back line. So Poppy's Steadfast could just deny a lot of engage. And on top of that, if Poppy's denying the engage, that means that she's up in the front. She's there. And Orianna could just say, here's my ultimate. Now you guys are in this circle, and now you're dead.
Granted, both a Jhin and a Syndra will rarely be that piled up with their team because their range is so high, they don't have to stay nearby their team. They can stay pretty far away and still be a threat to where they're nowhere near the Orianna.
Oh, that's definitely true, but that means that if you're so far back that your Kha'Zix and your Alistar is like trying to jump the back line or even trying to jump the front line, that means that you're not having a team to even stay with you.
Granted, we're talking about full 5v5 speculation. There is so much that could go into this game. There could be positioning issues, there could be pick issues. For all we know, they could still do a full, like, Mankato could still do a full engage against Winona by burning the Steadfast Presence from Poppy. If they go and try and make a pick on her and she uses it to escape, then they're like, okay, we have 20 seconds to engage. Because it's roughly a 20-second cooldown around mid-game, because you don't really max it early to lower the cooldown. And the only thing I think Poppy really gets for CDR really early on is potentially going to be a Spirit Visage against this team comp. She may also get an Iceborne Gauntlets, but I see that more being a second item, just because the biggest threats to her in the early game are going to be Maokai and Syndra, not necessarily the Kha'Zix, because again, she can easily just save her Steadfast Presence to knock away Kha'Zix.
Yep, that's very true.
And
okay, so we're going to go ahead and do this again. I did win the last one, so I'm 1-0 right now. Who do you think is going to win today, or win this one?
What are we having as like little filters?
It's whatever. You get to choose.
Going by everything, I'm going to go with Mankato. They have the better standings. They have the better team composition, in my opinion. Just because even though they have the Poppy that can deny so much from them, I feel like Mankato will have an easier time making rotations and trying to set up things how they want. Because they could single someone out with the Alistar and the Maokai together, and then they let Orianna just burst them down. And as long as it's not the Poppy that they're trying to burst down, I'm pretty sure they will die. Like, that's the only person that I think that if they try to burst down would be able to survive. Which, that's only if she can stay equal to the Maokai. And in a Poppy Maokai matchup, I believe that Maokai currently should win. It is more of a skill matchup, just because they are both tanks. But it's also with a Kha'Zix versus Graves as the jungler, and Kha'Zix is an easier time getting in there. It's just all about how well this Poppy can utilize the Steadfast Presence in lane.
All right, well, I'm going to, because like I said, this is who I am. I like that underdog story, so I'm going to go ahead and actually give it to Winona. I think they're going to be able to do a lot of engaging, a lot of being able to pick someone off, even a lot of damage, because Lucian does a lot of damage up front, so does Graves. Orianna could be able to just give anyone that ball, and Poppy, like you said, has that Steadfast and just be able to deny a lot of people. So I'm going to try to give it to Winona to see if they can pull it off and actually give us that upset that we all deserve but never wanted.
Well, pretty sure everyone wants an upset like that, because it's always fun to see it happen.
That's what I said. We all want it but never deserve it.
Oh, I think you said it backwards. My bad.
I'm pretty sure I said it backwards, but I'm just messing with you.
Oh, okay. Either way, we'll be learning into this game in just a moment, and we'll be seeing how these teams try and play up against each other. One thing I kind of like is that we see Poppy going with Raspberry and Dying, as well as Maokai. Both of them opt out of Courage of the Colossus, which means that they won't have as much engage potential just because it'll be a little bit squishier, but their laning and early game dueling potential will be that much higher. Another thing to look at is going to be Fear Fracture with the Fervor Battle on Lucian, meaning that the longer a fight lasts, the more damage is going to be amping up, because that's a flat AD increase now after the changes back in the preseason. And with that change, in addition to the lethality build, that ultimate from a Lucian, if he gets a full stack Fervor of Battle, is going to be doing insane damage.
Oh, definitely, 100%. I agree. but we are going to go ahead and see what happens there. Nothing, no invades. The invade from Winona was spotted out early from the center going into the middle lane, so they aren't going to be able to do much with that. Just kind of like a little line of scrimmage going on, but we don't have anything else kind of going. I do, however, will give Jin much props because I do love that skin.
Oh no, that is a beautiful skin. Especially, have you heard the sound it makes when you pull up the
yeah,
calls?
I have it. Oh, I have it.
Yeah, no, it is such an amazing skin. Now, looking at the jungle pass that they are starting out, it is both junglers starting bot side. It gives them a much better leash and a little bit of a faster leash because you have 2 people hitting harder than 1. And it's also going to give an opportunity for Kha'Zix to do a full clear because the blue side is far more single target, which allows him to isolate the camps, take them faster. Meanwhile, Graves can easily just walk from one camp all the way over to the blue side and start taking those, which will allow him to gank top much earlier than Kha'Zix will. However, if the gank does not work out for Peter, then he will be behind, just because he will have invested the time into the gank if he opts for it. It is purely dependent on whether or not he opts in and out for this game. And other than that, we actually see very little ward coverage right now. It is around 2 minutes 30 seconds into the game, right when the junglers should be hitting just around level 3. So we should be seeing the laners start to ready up their wards soon, and already aggression onto this Lucian!
Lucian is going to take a lot of aggression, and he's going to go down to half health, but nothing else is really coming out of that as of just the normal headbutt pulverized combo.
Now we do see Peter in the top lane looking for a gank. He is going to be going in!
He's doing a lot. He actually is going to go ahead and grab the smoke screen. He's going to do a lot of damage. He does have the red buff. The flash is going to come out of Maokai, and a successful game, I want to say, with the flash being gone from the top lane.
It's a successful gank, but he did not actually gain anything out of it individually. So that does mean that he is slightly behind of Kha'Zix just a little bit, because Kha'Zix they're roughly at the same healthiness. And Kha'Zix can continue farming while Graves already cleared up most of that side of his jungle. Although it looks like he cleared the scuttle and is looking to potentially invade or look for a gank mid. However, he is spotted.
He is spotted by a ward. Syndra is going to try to go ahead and do, a little bit of harass, not really achieving much out of that. They are going to go ahead and spot him out with the plants.
They also spot out that there are currently 2 things bringing vision into the river. They do not see that there is a ward in both the brushes towards the top side of river. So it'll be hard for Kha'Zix to determine whether or not it is easy for him to gank. He will get spotted if he tries to go anywhere nearby.
Ooh, a lot of damage going onto the Jin right now. We do see a little engage coming on the bot side of Winona. It was nice, a little retaliation as well, but nothing else really coming out of it. We do see a lot of the top, and Kha'Zix is actually going to try to go ahead and jump in there. A flash coming from the Poppy. So flash for the top lanes right now. So honestly, really
look bot lane. Peter's down there right now. This is going to be a 3-on-2.
Oh, it is actually. Alistair's going to take a lot of damage. He's going to try to get out. A heal going off right there, and nothing else coming of it. I mean, they did get the heal, so I don't want to say too much of a bad gank, but definitely would have been better with that kill.
Well, in terms of Mankato's side, I feel like it would have been much better for them to use the exhaust rather than heal, because heal's a longer cooldown, especially since the supports will be more likely to have that mastery, that lower CDR range. Meanwhile, bit of aggression going in the mid lane, but just final point on that little thing I was talking about is if they use exhaust, he still would have survived, and it would be a shorter cooldown for them to then be able to have back when they want it. Now, one thing I really like is that the Maokai was able to force the Poppy away from that gank. He is now a level up, and he still has the wave completely frozen by his tower, meaning he's going to have a full lane advantage. Granted, he did burn his teleport in order to get up there a little bit faster, but by having the freeze right where he wants it, as well as a level and about a half advantage above the Poppy, he can simply zone her away and give a large threat of the fact that he is stronger than her.
You're absolutely right. So we do see the Poppy coming back into lane right now. Not really doing much, like you said. There is the freeze. He's gonna try to go ahead and do a little harassment there. But now that he sees the Poppy there, he's gonna go ahead and try to push this out, in favor so that he can do a little bit of tower damage. He is 6 to her 4, and there he is gonna go ahead and pop the ultimate right there, trying to get as much damage as he can. almost actually killing the Poppy.
She will be forced back unless she wants to take the risk for a dive because Kha'Zix is not spotted, so she does not know whether or not she could be dove in soon. That is also the ward taken out from the river, so now there is really no way for her to know where Kha'Zix is on the map. She has to back off, otherwise she is taking a large risk. Granted, technically the risk is not present, she just doesn't know it.
That's very true. Constance is actually going to go ahead and start heading towards his blue buff right there, as
Looks
well
like
as the side of the bot lane as well, coming back into the lane. So there is really no presence up at the top lane, but he does have to be careful in case they do decide to come up and Maokai does ask for help.
And it looks like they are trying to prepare this dragon right now with Kha'Zix gain wards all around it and trying to make sure that there is no way for him to be spotted while he's in the river. And they are going onto the dragon, and they are spotted by one ward in there, which now the ward is going to be seen, and they are going to be taking it out, so they won't be able to tell what health the dragon is at while they're taking it. And it looks like Peter is going to be ganking mid to try and put some pressure. Oh no, never mind, he's trying to rush to the dragon as fast as possible, but getting caught out!
Ooh, press R to win. First blood going over to the side of Mavericks.
And that is also a flash by Funky B in order to get out alive. He got caught out by Jin's Deadly Flourish as well as the Syndra Scour of the Week. But if Feels Batman had his flash up, he could have tried flashing over the Raptor wall in order to follow up and continue the chase. And now there's full engaged bot lane on both sides.
Ooh, there goes the damage going on to the Jin. Jin actually has to go ahead and flash away from there, and Constance is down here as well. He's gonna go ahead and get stunned by the blast of a Nautilus. And Exhaust and were both used in that engagement down bot.
Yeah, and we can see that the flash was actually a great idea from Wicklebear just because Fear Fracture was just around full Fervor stacks, meaning that if he was able to get one more auto, one more Q, that would be a massive damage threat, which you have to be careful with from this Lucian. Especially because he also has already a serrated Dirk. And we also see that Peter is down in the bot lane there, looking for a bit of aggression, but he was spotted, so they're just going to run away. He is still caught out, though.
Oh, that's a lot of damage going on to the Alistar. Alistar's actually going to go ahead and have to flash, and there's a heal going on as well. The flash as well going on to our Fear Fracture. Fear Fracture is going to actually end up losing his life to the Jin. So it is a 1-for-1 scenario, but I don't know if...
It's an 80 carry for support. I do not like that trade-off, because now that means that Jin is going to be getting some free farm. Meanwhile, Fear Fracture is going to be losing experience as long as he's dead, which is going to be about... Well, he's back up now, but it's going to be roughly 10 seconds till he gets back to the lane. Meanwhile, we can see that Kha'Zix is just heavily farming. He's still roughly the same amount of farm as Graves, same level as well. But I would honestly say that he has put more pressure than this Graves, especially with that gank back in the top lane, being able to burn the flash so early from Poppy, which ended up meaning that it allowed for the aggression from Feels Batman, allowed the freeze, and we can see what that has evolved to now, roughly a 20 CS lead. It is just massive. How do you think that this Poppy will... Or what do you think this Poppy will have to do in order to try and climb back up and get a potential lead in the top lane?
I mean, they're going to definitely need to have a gank up there. I mean, there is a lot of damage going onto... Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to go ahead and go over to the mid lane right now and see that there actually isn't going to be anything happening over there. A little scared that the Graves is there, but it does look like bot lane is actually there as well. Scared the Weak is going to go ahead and miss, and it is going to be, you know, just... I guess a few wards taken, nothing really else. The support
the issue with that rotation is though is that only got a little bit of pressure in the mid lane. We do see that Fear Fracture is backing off, so he really just wasted a ton of time, and he's only putting himself behind compared to Wicklebear, because Wicklebear is just slowly pushing the lane, getting a lot of CS. He's now 12 ahead, and he's just giving himself advantage little by little, because he's also getting an experience advantage by having those minions there.
Well, I mean, right now we're gonna have to see what's gonna be happening. We do see a lot of aggression being pushed up on the bot lane right now. Very forward wards, especially that control ward from Alistar being put up in their tri-bush. So we do see, if you do go ahead and look at the map, there's a lot of ward coverage from... Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to go ahead and see a flash onto the Poppy. Poppy's actually going to go ahead and die in a heartbeat because Cosix was there. Cosix is going to be the next one to go down. That's a double kill. Going over to here to improve and press R to win. Almost at... Nope, there it is. Cinder is going to go ahead and take out the Oriana.
That wasn't an R, though. That was a Q that finished her off.
That is a Q. It wasn't the R. The R almost finished her off, but the Q was the one to secure it.
Yeah, and you can see that there's going to be a lot of damage going on to this top tower. It will most likely be going down just because that is a Kha'Zix and a Maokai on top of it, which you could easily just tank it and finish it off. Yep, as we saw. So that's going to be first blood tower going over to Mankato, getting most of the gold onto Kha'Zix and Maokai. There's a teleport now from Poppy.
There is a teleport from Poppy. Alistair's gonna have to pop his ultimate right now. He is trying his hardest to get out, but he is gonna go ahead and end up dying to Fear Fracture. Jin is gonna go ahead and do all 4 of his ults, or yeah, hit all 4 of his, shots. Not really doing anything else. Syndra is down there at the bottom to see if they're gonna, kind of get away from this tower. But that was a good teleport from the Poppy to get that secure Alistair kill.
And as you guys could hear, that beautiful sound coming from the curtain call. I love that skin so much. I want them to put more music into other skins and other champions kits real soon, just because it is such an interesting factor. And it adds a lot more depth into the characters, and I love seeing it whenever we're casting. Just to hear all the sounds.
Oh, Jin is actually doing a lot of damage. He's actually going to be able to do so much to get that last shot from his passive. And there goes Lucian with just Jin. Jin didn't even need to do anything, just able to land all of his abilities and take out Lucian so quickly.
That was a 350 damage auto attack with the 4 shots. That is insane. And he's also going a cripple. He's not going from what it looks like he's going a cripple, because he's building toward an Essence Reaver right now. He has not built any armor penetration as of yet. And I think that's mostly because he knows he's against 2 tanks, so he'd rather go the crit build that's more of a late game style. And if they were to fall even a little bit behind, you wouldn't want to be a mid-game character against 2 tanks, because they simply will be stronger than you. And
we are going to go ahead and see...
This is an Infernal Dragon, which is going to be incredibly powerful on both Syndra and Jin. If they are able to take this, that'll be an immense amount of pressure for the mid to late game stages when they start scaling up even further. And right now, there are no wards in that pit to give Winona any vision.
Yeah, they are clearing out the wards really well. They actually can't really do much. They don't have the wards to, like I said, cover it up, and they are going to go ahead and grab the Infernal for free. So that is another dragon going over to the red side. Infernal and Mountain. That's really huge for red team.
I'm not sure if you saw, but that entire time when the dragon was being pressured, we saw Poppy actually running over towards the dragon, which just let Feels Batman get some free farm over in the top lane, and is also now pressuring the jungle camps over in the blue side. And it's just only cementing the lead between Poppy and Maokai even further. It's now a 40 CS differential, which is putting Maokai at roughly 1,200 gold ahead.
Oh, this is going to be oh, so sorry, Lucian, but you definitely should probably have kept going, as Kha'Zix is going to delete Lucian from this game for the next, let's say, 20 seconds.
Yeah, roughly. And while there is these 4 members of Mankato in the bot lane trying to take this tower, there's currently a 1v1 in the mid lane and also going for that tower, and Nautilus is being caught out.
Nautilus should not have stayed there. There is like a 4v1 right there. He is going to die too. Here to improve. Ari and Graves are down there. And they're probably going to go ahead and try to grab this next turret if they do continue to push for the red team, while Maokai is going to go ahead and try his hardest to grab this other turret as well. He is taking tower damage, but he will be able to do a lot of damage. He's actually going to go ahead and go in, and the ult from the but I'm sorry, there actually ends up being a 2 or 1-for-1, and then Kha'Zix is actually going to go up to the top as well to be able to get that kill. Scatter the Weak is going to go ahead and make sure that Lucian does not continue the chase. And that is a 2-for-1 and a tower going
2 towers,
over to the
because it got bot and mid throughout that entire trade. Now, I'm actually really happy to see that they kept Feels Batman in the mid tower rather than having to go with his team in the bot lane, because it pressured mid tower, allowed him to get it. But also the thing that would have really stopped him from being able to take the tower would have been Poppy's ultimate, the Keeper's Verdict. which, if that got utilized in the bot lane, it would have stopped the tower push completely if you knock away the people that do the damage to towers, such as Syndra and Jhin. By keeping Poppy in the mid lane with Maokai under that pressure, they guaranteed both towers going down, and they also guaranteed easy picks, since Poppy wasn't there to use the steadfast presence on Kha'Zix or Alistar. And I really love seeing that planning from teams like this, in order to make sure that they can take towers that they need. And also, I didn't even realize, but apparently about 2 minutes ago, there was a Rift Herald taken. I didn't even notice. Did you notice?
Yeah, the Rift Herald was taken when the dive with the Alistar happened with the Poppy's, with the Poppy teleport, but it doesn't look like they were trying their hardest to go ahead and grab that Nautilus, and Nautilus does end up living to see another day.
Oh, but for some reason, feels Batman is getting chased by Peter, who is 2 levels behind. I'm not sure why he'd really go for that, so I'm pretty sure he can win. The Maokai, I mean.
Well, we don't know. What I do want to go ahead and give attention to is the pinks, the control wards, the wards in general. Oh, hold on. We actually are going to go ahead and see the Kha'Zix do a lot of damage right there. He's going to go ahead and run onto... Oh, actually, the flash from Kha'Zix. I think he was like scared of getting taken out by the Winona.
Well, especially because she had Shockwave up, so that was a bit of a threat. Right now, feels Batman is going heavy onto Graves.
Oh, but he's actually going to go ahead and get caught out by the Poppy right there. Poppy's actually going to go ahead and go down to Wicked, but the Shockwave is actually going to go ahead and hit the Jhin. Jhin is actually not going to, or he is going to live, and Jhin is actually going to go ahead and snare up the Nautilus. Kha'Zix is going to go ahead and get the double kill. The ult to win, the press R to win is going to go ahead and kill Graves as well, and that is a 4 for nothing.
Well, possibly also with tower, because we're seeing mid tower going down right now. That should be a guaranteed takedown once these minions reach it.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, this will be tower going down. As you were mentioning, there is immense ward coverage from Mankato towards the bot side. They have 2 pinks, one by the top side of the red camp, and one right at the entrance to the jungle in the center. Oh wait, no, there's also one by the bot side of red camp as well that I didn't notice before. So they have 3 control wards right in the bot side jungle of Winona, which is actually going to be adding a lot of vision, a lot of pressure, just because if you cannot see where the enemy is in your own jungle, you have a risk of being picked off, which you do not want to take.
Well, they are clearing up a lot of those pink wards that are on the bot side of the jungle right as we speak. But right now, I mean, I don't know what Winona really has to do here. They are getting picked off one by one. A lot of damage is coming from the Jhin, from the Syndra, and even from the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix is going to go ahead and pick up a lot of items right now. As I was saying this, he is 7-0-1. Actually, the only person on the team for Mavericks that has died is the Alistar. Everyone else is scotch-free.
But we've also seen that Ransack Moose has been willing to go very much all in for these engages to guarantee more kills. And right now we can see Feels Batman going really heavy onto Oakenball. Not sure if that's really going to get a kill. I feel like she can get away. And she does.
Jhin is actually getting focused right now as well. We do see a lot of damage going onto the Jhin. Jhin is actually going to try his hard. He's actually going to... Sorry, Kha'Zix trying to jump in. Ashley's going to go ahead and get stopped by the ult of Nautilus. But it doesn't matter because both Jhin is dead. But actually, that ends up being a 3-for-1 scenario. And Feels Batman is actually going to go ahead and try to take down Poppy with all of his might. He is going to go ahead and grab on. Does a lot of damage just standing next to her. And gets the kill, as well as they do end up getting the other Infernal for the side of red.
And that is now 2 Infernal Dragons. I just want to take a look at how much AD Wicklebear has right now with double Infernal Dragon. He already has 269. Meanwhile, Here to Improve has 279 AD with a double armor pen item or lethality item in his build right now, which just means he's going to be destroying anyone that he can find isolated. Honestly, I don't even think Poppy could survive that long against Kha'Zix right now.
No, Poppy will definitely not be able to survive. She does have the Sunfire Cape. That does help out a little bit, but she is trying to go for that, what I'm assuming is the Spirit Visage. they are kind of heading around and seeing that there is a lot of people over at the side of blue for their blue side jungle, but we don't really see any engagements coming out. They are trying to ward, make sure that they do not get the Baron at this moment in time. But it does look like the red team is going to go ahead and try to set up for that Baron with a bunch of wards sweeping around, making sure that no one can see them from any of these angles.
Which, a little comparison between the two teams, right now you can see that Here to Improve has a sweeper, while Peter does not, which I do like the fact that Mankato opted for the double sweeper, or the double oracles, because it allows you to get vision control around the objectives far more easily, which is vital right now. And honestly, Winona has to be thinking the same type of thing if they want to get any bit of pressure back into this game. And speaking of pressure, we have Fuse Batman down in the bot lane, shoving really hard, appreciating that wave is going to be crashing towards the inhibitor tower.
Oh my god, there's so much damage going on to the Graves right now, but Kozak is actually going to go ahead and be the next one that dies. And the ultimate from Orianna is actually going to be whiffed. Doesn't really hit anyone, but they are going to go ahead and get out of there. The redemption is coming out. Maokai is actually going to get right into the middle of that. Fuse Batman is going to go ahead and take out the Nautilus as Poppy is going to go down to the Jhin. And it does look like they're going to go ahead and settle for this next, or this top tower. And that
we also see Gigabyte going towards the bot tower to try and see if she can take that out. She will be contested by both Orianna and Lucian, so that will be 2v1. However, I feel like that is mostly to keep pressure that they can go for a Baron, which does look like that is where Mankato is heading for.
That's it! That's the R to win! That's the scan of the week, and the Death Spear is going to be the next one that's coming up. He is going to go ahead and flash away, so she's not going to die to that. Meanwhile, Gold, Maokai, Alistair, and Jhin are going to go ahead and take down the Baron. It is about, a quarter of the way done, but it does look like the exhaust is going to go on to Syndra. Syndra's trying her hardest to do so much damage with all those Death Spears and everything like that. We do have Cosmos coming up to help out with the Baron, and Baron is going to be taken on the side of McAllister. Oh, and I'm sorry. Graves did end up actually picking up the Syndra kill. So that is going to be a shutdown for Graves. And it
is a shutdown.
But I have to place his, use his flash for that, though.
It is a shutdown, but you still have to give it to Gigabyte going down there and placing that much pressure to allow her team to take the Baron without any sort of retort from Winona. Just because the amount of pressure she placed on that tower, killing Lucian and almost killing Orianna as well in one fell swoop, was very fantastic gameplay by her. It was, well, I mean, technically she could have ulted either one and killed them. But ulting Lucian, I would argue, was a little bit better just because he has more consistent damage and is a larger threat at the moment. Aside from that, we still see plenty of ward coverage by Mankato, and Winona has yet to really pick up any control wards except for just a few, and most of them are dying off right as they get placed.
Wow. So, I am going to go ahead and mention this. Fear Factor did end up using his ultimate to try to clear the minion waves, but the Baroned up minions, practically he took down 2 minions with his ultimate, with the Baroned up ultimate. Oh my god, that was just, that's how crazy intense the Baroned up minions are.
Part of it is also, you have to remember that when you have individual lane advantages, the minions get stronger in both defense and offense, which if you look at the difference between each laner, it makes sense to reason that the minions for Mankato are just going to be that much more powerful even without Baron buff. They're going to be naturally tankier and naturally doing more damage just because Mankato is already ahead now.
Yeah, the Weekend's actually going to go ahead and pick up 3 people, and that's I'm sorry. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, a lot of things are going happening right now. There's a lot of damage going on. Kozak is going to actually end up picking Orianna and the Graves off, but Syndra did end up getting dying in the process as well. That's a triple kill going on to Kozak, and Jhin is going to go ahead and pick up Poppy while they are going to take this mid-inhib turret down and the inhib as well.
Yeah, and this could potentially be game because that's 4 people down. The only person up right now is Nautilus, and they're taking down 2 inhibs, and there's already Baron buff minions at the Nexus towers. That only needs to go 2 down. They have with Kozak and Jhin up to take these. So I feel like this could be game right here.
Oh, that's definitely going to be game right now. They're taking down the first of the Nexus tower. The second Nexus tower is going to go down right now, and the Baron up minions are coming in, and it does look like Mavericks are going to end up picking this game up for themselves, and that is going to be another win for them. They are still undefeated as of now.
All right, that's going to be game 2 going over to Mankato Mavericks. That was an excellent show by them. Not necessarily a great game to watch in terms of the teams being close to one another, but that was a very energetic and very dominating display by Mankato. You have to give it to them. They took a lead right from the start and drove it home. Some of the best people for that were definitely Here to Improve and Feels Batman. But you also have to recognize every single member did a lot of work. You have Ransack Moose playing the Engager, playing the Sacrifice in order to make sure that he can kill as many people as possible while setting up his team. You have Wicklebear constantly using the ultimate, constantly using Deadly Flourish in order to lock people down and set them up for both Gigabyte and Here to Improve to finish off. Then you also have Gigabyte, who applied so much lane pressure, especially back in the bot lane when they were taking Baron, allowing them to get it basically for free without any contest. You'd have Here to Improve doing amazing ganks, especially in the early game when he set up Feels Batman to have an early lead within his lane and literally take it into his own hands to drive into a easy win. And again, for me, the MVP is Feels Batman. He just dominated the top lane. He was applying so much pressure all the time, and whenever he teleported, it was with a purpose, it was executed, and it was played extremely well. How would you say this game wins for them?
I don't have anything else to say. You practically took the words right out of my mouth. However, I will say this. Feels Batman, you did an excellent job. I'm actually not going to give you the MVP. I'm going to give it to Gigabyte because, like you said, Gigabyte was able to do all the damage, press R to win, and being able to stall for the team so that they can get the Baron. So I am going to go ahead and give it to Gigabyte, at least for my personal MVP.
Okay, that's fine enough. That's fine enough. Now, that is going to mean that yet again we still have 2 teams that are undefeated at the end of week 3. Well, the end for them of week 3. We still have 1 more game to go. And that is also going to mean that now Winona is 1-2 in the standings. So I wonder if this is going to be the trend where they start to be in the lower tier set of teams, or if they'll be able to climb their way back up as the weeks go on. Honestly, even though they got very much hurt within this game specifically, you can still see that they have a lot of fire and passion in their hearts. They don't really give up. They don't really just call it quits when things start going wrong. They still try their best throughout the entire game and can still make pits, can still do well in team fights, can still do decent with pressure. I think the biggest issue they have right now is learning rotations and learning vision control, because we saw a lack of control wards, a lack of wards in general from Winona.
All right. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break. We will come back to UMNA versus Pupperdogs next, and that will be the last game for week 3, day 2. So stick around until that game happens.
All right, and we are back for game number 3. It's going to be the UMN A team versus, I actually just forgot. Do you remember, Dreamer?
Pupperdogs.
Yeah, CSS Pupperdogs. Thank you. Literally just slipped my mind. I cannot believe that happened. But either way, that is going to be who we will be seeing in this final game for week number 3. Both these teams have seen some pretty good performances so far, and I'm excited to see how well they do playing against one another. I believe right now they are equal in standings, both at a 1-1 stand. I just need to double check that. But in the meantime, Dreamer, how do you think these teams are going to be playing?
I mean, I think they're gonna. Everyone's been playing really well, so I can't really say that anyone's gonna be playing bad. I'm just saying if it is, and I believe you're correct, it is a 1-1 standing right now. So whoever does win today is going to be advancing, and the other one is going to be dropping a little bit. Not that much, but dropping a little bit. But I do want to see something new, to be honest with you. We have seen a lot of meta picks within the last 2 games. So I do want to see something a little bit new between these 2 teams. But, I mean, I guess we're just going to have to see what happens.
Yeah, and once we get this game started up, it will be roughly 15 minutes until we get into Champion Select. So we have quite a bit of time until then. For now, I just kind of want to do a little quick recap over the previous 2 games. So something we saw in common was double mages in the mid lane. For the first game, it was Ari versus Victor. In the second game, it was Orianna versus Syndra. Both of them always had it where it was whoever had a little bit more of jungle presence would usually be the one that got ahead. And I'm wondering if that's going to be a pattern we'll see from now on in terms of mid lane power, or if we could actually see someone being totally dominated by themselves without relying on a jungler to help.
Well, I mean, I don't know if relying on a jungler to help is the real term in that.
That's
I do want to say that all the junglers that we have seen today have been very helpful, and especially for the top lane and for the bot lane. The mid lanes I feel like have actually been doing well just in and of themselves. So for that to happen, I don't really see a problem with the mid lanes, not really doing anything or just doing something by themselves. Yes, I would like maybe a little bit more attention to the mid lanes, because as we saw, a lot of the mid laners have been doing the most damage, have been doing, have been getting a lot of those kills. We saw the Victor being, I think it was like 10-2 and 12.
I think it was 11-2 and 12.
11-2 and 12 by the end of that, the first game. Syndra being able to burst down someone really hard the second game. So
almost 1v2 and completed. Well, she did 1v2 by herself. She just didn't get the second kill.
Yeah, but still, point being is that I do think a little bit more attention to the mid laners right now would push these games to be a little bit quicker. And I mean, who knows? Maybe we'll see a really quick game. Maybe we'll see an hour game. Hopefully, not the hour game. Please don't make this an hour game. I am not trying to jinx myself, God. Please.
No, I don't think you have to worry about that. Because again, we have been seeing a very large amount of early game focus within these games. They usually just last long because one or both teams have trouble closing out. However, I feel like it's hard for a game to really last that long. So all it takes is one good team fight, and then the game can end pretty quickly, especially since we've been seeing a lot of Mountain Dragons in the last 2 games. Well, not a lot. We just saw one in each, but that's enough to make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And aside from that, we've also been seeing both junglers going carry junglers in each game, which means that tower taking will be a little bit easier rather than just having multiple tanks. And even the AD carries are generally AD carries are just overall great tower takers. We saw Caitlyn and Nash in game 1, and then we saw Lucian and Jhin in game 2. All 4 of those AD carries are fairly decent at taking towers. The weakest one is going to be Jhin, just because he has very low attack speed, but he still has really high range and really high pressure when he's taking the tower because of his immense utility. So I'm kind of excited to see how this game will go, especially in Champion Select, just because we actually haven't really seen too similar of teams. The only thing really similar between the teams that we saw was, well, Graves. That's it.
And Graves has won and lost for these past 2 games.
That is true.
Actually,
he lost both.
He lost both. I'm sorry. He did lose both. So Graves might be the curse really quick, but that doesn't mean, like, he has been first pick both times within the champion or within Champion Select. So it's not the fact that Graves is bad. It's just the timing and everything. The events that happened didn't really help Graves at all. So maybe we'll see another Graves, and maybe we'll see a Graves win for today. But if not, I do want to see, to be honest, I do want to see something a little off meta for a jungler. We saw the Graves, we saw the Rengar, we saw the Kha'Zix. And to be honest, if I remember correctly with the stats page, Camille was a pick or ban for a very long time. She actually wasn't picked or banned for the last game. I don't actually mind seeing a Camille jungle be picked up for this game.
I feel like a Camille's top would be far more likely than a Camille jungle.
Oh, 100%. But that doesn't mean I can't, push, nudge kind of think, what's going on, or, kind of say something like that.
Yeah, but I remember last time we casted, you also were trying to push for people to play Skarner in the jungle.
That's true, but that's because Kha'Zix was broken back then. Kha'Zix is not broken right now.
And Skarner is a decent counter to Kha'Zix.
Mm-hmm.
Just because he jumps in and you just literally say, ha, nope.
Yep.
But one thing I want to see is the werewolf. Well, technically, by lore, he's not a werewolf anymore. He is now a... what's the technical term for? He's a chimera. That's what it is.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, technically,
you into like some deformed thing with bat ears and a wolf body.
It's a wolf body, wolf head, a pig snout, bat ears, and a foxtail. That is what he is. Which that
sounds disturbing.
I mean, it's what he is. They made it look.
That doesn't make it any better. That's still disturbing.
And you know what the most disturbing part is? He used to be a normal human being.
Yep.
His body got changed.
Yep.
But either way, he is one of my favorite champions to see played right now, especially in spectate mode, because when you see that Blood Hunt activate, it is such an intense feature of the game. You have the music pumping, you see Warwick going feral to chase down his victims. And it is just glorious to cast when that happens. So I would love to see Warwick get into one of the picks for this game. Do you think it would happen?
I mean, I don't see why not.
He is a fairly good champion right now. He's low damage, but what he offers to a team is extreme tankiness and pretty good utility and tank or pick potential.
Utility, CC, mostly CC with the fear, with the ultimate, and then being able to stick to his target really with his Q and his blood hunt.
Yeah, and you also have Well, again, the crowd control adding to that stickiness, which if he gets a lot of speed boosts, like I would love to see a team built around making Warwick as fast as possible. Like we've seen teams do that before for Olaf and Hecarim. I want to see that for Warwick to get the max range Warwick jump. Just go like, oh hey, I know I just took Baron, but let me jump to Dragon real quick. Could you imagine that, just seeing Warwick fly from Baron to Dragon?
I think if I remember correctly, because a lot of people would test this out with what was it, Rammus, with everyone that has the move speed. Someone tested it out where the Warwick could jump from Nexus to
It's Fountain to Red Buff, roughly. So that's the same distance as from there to tier 2, which I don't know if that distance is the same as from Baron to Dragon, but I still feel like it'd be hilarious just to see that happen.
You would have to have a lot of preparation to do that. And would it be worth it? Probably not.
But you'd have so much pressure, and you could actually get a decent team cup around that. You do Karma support, Lulu mid, Warwick jungle, Sivir AD carry, and then someone top lane. Someone.
Galio?
Yeah, Galio. Galio top. You'd have like
good.
0 damage until very late game, but it'd be worth it just to see a super fast Warwick.
No, not really.
Fine, crush my dreams.
I will crush your dreams, but we are waiting for the players to get ready and to get set. But I mean, I wouldn't mind. I wouldn't mind a Warwick. Warwick is fun for the time being with everything that he does provide. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see as we are now into the draft pick.
And I'm wondering if we'll be seeing another Varus ban to stay consistent throughout the rest of the games as today, or if you'll actually make it through and get picked up early on.
No, he's not gonna get picked today. There's your Varus ban that you commentator cursed us with. Varus banned for the 3rd time today. We'll be going over to the Pupperdogs. No one. It's always been Blue Side that has banned Varus.
My guess is that the blue side still wants to prioritize champions such as Graves over Varus, and they just don't want red side to pick it up immediately after. That's my guess.
Alright, Shen is going to be the next ban that's coming up over to the UMNA. Kha'Zix is going to be the next ban for Pupperdogs. UMNA now has their 2nd ban coming up. Shen and Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix, I can understand. Kha'Zix is still that assassin and everything. Shen, I'm very confused about.
Shen could be just because they saw how powerful it was in game number 1. And also, the team that utilized Shen was ganked by Gophers, which that is both UMN teams, meaning that they have easy access to scrim against each other, which if they scrim against each other a lot, they would probably see the power in Shen from the top laner Spliffy. So, if they see how powerful it is from him, they probably just fear it in general, because they don't know if anyone else could be as good at Shen as Spliffy.
Well, we're about to find out. We do have Rise being the 2nd ban over from UMNA, and Pupperdogs are not going to want to fight a Riven, so that will be the last ban for Pupperdogs and Aurelion Sol.
Oh, I believe that is one of Wincow's signature champions.
Okay,
so that
makes a lot more sense, because I was going to be questioning everything, and yet, whatever. But Maokai is going to be the first one to get picked up for Pupperdogs. Ezreal and Graves are kind of being hovered over to UMNA, but it is going to be Graves and Jin on the side of UMNA for this time around.
Which I feel like those two together can do really great work in the mid game, because you can have Jin to lock people up and then Graves to burst them down and finish them off, especially because Jin can lock people down from such an extremely far range, and Graves has that immense burst. We saw in the previous 2 games, despite him losing, he can still do quite a bit of damage.
Yeah, I mean, that's all he's been about. He can do damage. Jesus. He can do the damage. That's how he is, and that's what he's meant for. But he needs the CC from his teammates, or he needs to be able to take or pick someone for him to be able to utilize that damage really well. Ezreal and Orianna are going to be the ones getting picked up for Pupperdogs. Ezreal, I do like, because he can evade a lot of Jin's attacks.
He can also escape a Graves fairly easily, especially if the Arcane shifts over a wall, which if the Graves uses his quick draw to get towards Ezreal, then he won't have it back up again unless V has very high attack speed, because projectile goes down with every auto attack. But it will be really hard for Grace to try and follow Ezreal.
It is going to be very hard, especially if he does end up going for that blue Ezreal build. Alistair is kind of being hovered over for the side of UMNA, and Kled is also being hovered over. I actually wouldn't mind seeing that. I actually ended up playing a 3v3 game yesterday with Kled, and that was so much fun. So, I want a Kled and Scarl duo top lane for the side of UMNA. They do have 5 seconds. They could be just playing with my heart, and that's okay. But it doesn't know.
Burning Case played it. Yeah, Burning Case played it last week, so I'm not surprised they picked it yet again.
It is going to be the Kled and the Corki coming over for UMNA. Urgot and Talon are being hovered over right now.
Those are jokes. Those are jokes. They still
I don't know. I have seen Urgot, and Urgot's been doing pretty well. And Talon, I don't think would have been.
Yeah, but they already have top ADC and mid locked in. Where would Urgot go if he was picked?
He's jungle. Jungle Urgot. New meta.
So would it be like calling never mind. I was gonna say jungle knots.
What's wrong with that?
It was gonna be a bad joke, but either way. Looking at it, locks in the Rek'Sai and hovering Sona right now for the supports. Not sure if that will be a full lock-in or not. Sona could be fairly good against Jhin just because she could lock him down and poke him really hard early on, which since Jhin does not synergize well with the Warlord's Bloodlust, that poke would actually mean something because he wouldn't be able to simply sustain it back up, but it looks like they're going to go for Karma instead.
Karma's really good just because it has the disengage and the engage from her ultimate shield combo, as well as being able to shield Ezreal, Maokai, or even Rek'Sai. Anyone going in, the Orianna and the Karma can go ahead and shield anyone that does end up going in and taking a lot of damage. I do like the Rek'Sai pick, and I do definitely like the Karma pick. So we are going to see what UMNA is going to go ahead and choose as their last champion. And obviously, it's going to be support, unless that's support Kled. And if that is, I have no clue what my life is anymore.
I am fairly certain it's a top Kled, but the only thing I really could imagine for a support right now is someone that's going to be fairly tanky. We may see something like a Thresh or a Braum, because a Braum would be fairly good against an Ezreal and a Karma.
Braum would be good, especially being able to slow with his ultimate as well if the engage does happen.
Oh, imagine a Braum ultimate layered on top of a Corki package.
Hey, look, there's your Braum.
Oh, hey!
Hey,
well, then.
it's Braum.
So, Braum ultimate layered on top of a Corki package, that'd be a devastating combo, and I would love to see that. But another thing to think of is actually, you take Kled's ultimate and mix that together with Corki having a package up. That is scary.
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, if you try to go upstream on Kled's ultimate, you actually are slowed.
No, I don't think it does that. I think you're thinking of Galio's Wind.
I'll look into that later. But we do have the team comps going in. It is going to be Maokai versus Kled, Rek'Sai versus Graves, Orianna and Corki in that mid lane, Ezreal and Karma versus the Jhin and the Braum for the bot lane. So we are going to see how this is going to go. Yet again, I've done this to you 2 times today. Who do you think is going to win?
I mean, I'm slightly biased because I really love seeing Kled, and I want to give it to Kled. And also the UMNA team, but I think I'm actually going to go with the Pupperdogs just because I feel like Maokai and Rek'Sai are such a really good combo together, especially because that is 2 ball delivery services that are very easy and can't be easily stopped because they also don't have anything that could stop them mid-dash. The closest thing they have would be using Braum's ultimate, but I doubt they're going to use Braum's ultimate just to stop a tunneling Rek'Sai.
All right, well, I'm actually, even if you did end up picking UMNA, I am going to say UMNA is going to go ahead and take this because of this. They have Graves. They have Corki. They have the Kled. They have the Jhin. They have so much damage on that side that if that Corki starts getting anywhere near the core items that he needs, he is going to be scary. Rek'Sai and Maokai are going to have a tough time trying to get, any bit of CC or any bit of damage onto UMNA just because they're going to get bursted down so quick. it is going to be reliant on Karma and Oriana to be able to shield and make sure people don't die. But I feel like Corki, just by himself, is going to be super scary. Kled is going to be able to do a lot of damage. And you also have to remember, Kled has 2 health bars. So who knows? Maybe he won't end up dying at all this game. But it is going to be, I'm going to have to give it to UMNA. They have the damage. They have the necessary, even the CC with the Braum and the Kled, just though, and even the Jhin. I feel like UMNA is going to definitely take this one.
Yeah, and relating to what you said, though, you mentioned that UMNA team has a lot of damage, but there's also a lot of tankiness and a lot of shielding coming from the Pupperdogs.
No, you're absolutely right, and that's what I said. It is going to have to rely on Oriana and for Karma to make sure that no one dies.
Yeah, and even then, I don't think they really have to use the shields on either Rek'Sai or Maokai, just because they're tanky enough as it is. I don't think you really have to worry that much.
All right.
The main person that they'll want to shield is going to be Ezreal or Oriana herself. Karma, I mean, you could shield Karma, but I think that's only if there's like some actual issue, like she's being caught out. Other than that, I feel like most of the shields are going to be focused on Ezreal. Possibly Maokai when he's going in, or Rek'Sai, depending on who they want to do the engages. I feel like Rek'Sai would be a better engager, and having Maokai sit in the center to stop the damage, because you got the Vengeful Maelstrom. That's going to reduce damage by a flat 20%, which is quite a lot when you think about it, especially because of how much damage the UMN team has. But we are going to be loading into the game right now. The delay is over. So let us get started and get into this game.
I want to go ahead and say something that we haven't mentioned for the entire day, is that we actually have been playing on the Blood Moon map. And it actually, in my opinion, it looks really nice. This loading screen looks really nice. I don't like the layout of the map.
I don't like it just because it makes it hard to see things that have red texture. Especially when you're in the river. That's the only thing I really don't like about the map. It makes it seem a little unfair for certain skins or for certain types of champions that have like textures. Like, I feel like it'd be really hard to tell where the hell of Vladimir and his pool is on this map.
I never thought of that. I know what I'm playing for the rest of the time now.
Actually, I just realized, why isn't there a Blood Moon Vlad skin?
There probably will be later on sometime in the future.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like that should be a thing, but from what it looks like, masteries are just as expected. Same thing with, the Keystone Masteries and Summoner Spells are just as expected. The only thing I would say I am slightly surprised by is going to be the Curse of Colossus on Kled. I feel like either Fervor of Battle or Grasp of the Undying is much better on him. What do you say, since you obviously really enjoy Kled?
I really enjoy Kled, so I do give you the fact that the Grasp of the Undying would probably been a better choice. But you also have to remember that no matter what, he's going to get that Courage of the Colossus stack if he hits someone with his ultimate. If he hits someone with Charge.
I forgot that. Wait, you got the name wrong. It's not Charge, it's Charge!
You really? Actually, you kind of sound like Freak when you said that, not going to lie. But we are loaded up into the game. We are going to go ahead and see every one of UMND going into that mid lane. The good luck to have funds are coming all around. They're going to see if they can do a gank. This is the third attempt for an invade today.
Is every single one by the red side so far? Or no, blue side. Every single
blue side has done both.
Side.
Blue side has done both. Red side.
Oh, no. Red side did the one for game one because it had Blitz rank.
That's very true. So we are going to go ahead and see if this invade actually does end up working.
It is a Braum doing the invade.
But see, the thing is, as you can see right here, blue side has already put that board right there. So they know 100% that there's going to be an invade coming anytime.
Yeah, that is very true. They would have to go all the way around, which then they would just get spotted by turrets. There's no real way for them to easily do this, which I feel like they know that. As you can see, Burning Case is already heading back up to the top lane. He's not sticking around. It may actually be more of a invade prevention for if they tried to do something, which, I mean, if they tried to do an invade with Rek'Sai level 1 and also a Orianna level 1, it's not that great, because most Oriannas, especially against a Corki, will want to start the Protect rather than the Command Attack. Just because it gives you a little extra tankiness in the level 1 trades, as well as the ability to try and give a few auto attacks for free, since you won't have to worry about taking as much damage. Meanwhile, this is actually the first time that we see Graves opting for a full clear of his blue side if he goes to Wolves next. And we also see Demolisher going straight towards from red to Wolves rather than clearing the Krugs or Raptors early on, which means that Demolisher will be missing out on quite a bit of early experience because Raptors and Krugs give a lot of experience early on just due to the amount of creeps are actually at the camps.
Alright, well, I'm gonna go ahead and bring attention to the top lane right now. With Bear on a Bear Trap on a string, on a rope, sorry, being the first item or first ability that Kled has put into it, he's actually done a lot of damage over to the Maokai, but we do see a lot of aggression going onto the bot lane right now, with Braum being able to take a lot of it with his shield popping up.
Yeah, it's very true, and I am really surprised that Demolisher just used the smite on the blue buff because he was quite healthy. He could have saved it for something like Romp or Scuttle, especially if he's just gonna back or look for a gank. And as of right now, you can actually see that Riven Essence is heading into the enemy jungle. Will he plays a ward, so he actually does spot out Demolisher.
Alright, so they are gonna know that the Rek'Sai is over at the top side of his jungle, but Skarl is gone.
He is being pinstered.
Oh, he is being pincered. He is going to go ahead and use a smoke screen. He's going to try his hardest to go and dash over that. He is going to dash over both wards going down. To make sure that he's not doing anything funny, but no, nothing venture, nothing gain.
That is a bit of miscommunication though, because one of those wards could have gone towards warding the Tri-Brush or a brush further into his jungle to try and spot him where he goes next, which that is valuable information that you would want, especially since the Rek'Sai has an easy job invading enemy jungles, because with the sonar ability, you can easily spot out people wherever they are as long as they're within a large radius around you.
Wow, a lot of damage going onto the Ezreal, and a lot of damage being reciprocated over to the Braum as well. So it was a trade going over to the Pupperdogs, but there was a very nice smart chain of CCs going onto the Ezreal as well, as he did have to pop his pot and, you know, get his health back up to a decent amount.
Yeah, he will be having to burn that potion, and from what we know, because Jin does have 2 more potions to use, it's going to be gained a little while longer until they can actually try and force Jin out of this lane. So far, we're seeing Pupperdogs do some great poke, but not enough. She needs to start getting some auto attacks in there if she really wants to start training, and Burning Kate's going really heavily onto Puff Boy.
Yeah, he definitely wanted to get his Skarl back. He was about a few centimeters away from that. He does end up getting it, doing a lot of damage. So now he has his chicken. That's all he wanted. He wanted the chicken. He has his chicken, and we live on back up in the top lane. He's actually doing a lot of damage now that he has his level. He's actually level 5 over the level 4 of Maokai, and doing a lot of damage. And there is no pressure that can be applied because Rek'Sai is back at the base, as he did just back a little bit.
Yeah, and with having to back off, we do see already a Tommy Cinder picked up. Sorry, I forgot what the name of the item was.
Oh my god, the
very
damage
low.
is just going on to this Maokai. Maokai actually ended up having to flash away from the Kled, and Kled does still have his Skarl. So that is very unfortunate. Maokai does not have a flash, so that is an easy gank opportunity for the Graves in the future. And the teleport is actually going to go ahead and being placed as well for Maokai. So Maokai has no summoners up in the top lane, but he has back, so he is at a little bit of a better advantage right now. But we do see a gank going on to the mid, and First Blood is going over to Graves. UMNB has First Blood, and it's actually amazing. The flashes that Orianna and the Graves had to do to get that kill was good. And actually, we do see the Rek'Sai coming in to try to protect this turret, but I don't know if he's actually going to be able to do much with this.
Yeah, well, no, he is able to protect it. However, this does leave an opportunity for Riven Evanescence to go into the enemy jungle, get some wards down, and try and get some vision. However, he does see that there is a little bit of emptiness within the top side of the jungle, meaning that is more than likely that Demolisher will be going into the bot side jungle clearing. That does signal that there is a potential for a gank in the top lane. It looks like they're going to be looking for that using Cled's ultimate.
Charge! There you go. There's the ultimate coming out right there as well for Maokai. Maokai actually doesn't have that much mana, but his HP is going down pretty quick as well. Kled is actually going to go ahead and try to take it with the Scarl. He's doing so much damage. It's actually just the one. There it is. And the Q coming from the Kled will get the kill, but Graves does actually end up dying. So it is a 1-for-1 in that top lane. So much damage going on to that, and it's so unfortunate too because Graves did end up trying to shoot the Maokai, but instead shot the turret, so he could not actually get the kill that he really wanted. We do see a lot of damage going over onto the Braum, but we do see a potential gate coming over here. Both Orianna and the Rek'Sai are over there, but they do get sputtered out by a ward, so they won't be able to do much with it. They do actually end up seeing the Graves with
They see the Graves, but this is still a risky situation because that is 4 members from each team towards the spot side right around the Dragon. And this is an Infernal Dragon, so if they try any actual aggression, they'll be putting a large amount of risk onto the table where whichever team wins basically guaranteed the free Dragon afterwards. And it looks like they're just going to back off and try to just keep things calm for a little bit longer and look for aggression somewhere else. Meanwhile, Burning Case is still going heavy on a Puff Boy.
That's what you gotta do. You can't let up on that. Kled has all this damage that he can do with his W, so he is gonna go ahead and try. And you also have to remember that Maokai doesn't really have boots. He does have the... Oh, sorry, we're gonna go ahead and talk about the 2 ultimates that are actually down in the bot lane right now. Graves is actually gonna get stunned over. Graves is actually trying his hardest to live. He is gonna end up dying to the Karma, so it was a potential gank, but we do see the Corki actually coming down as well. Oh my, Karma is actually down. He has to flash away. The Orianna actually ended up coming down with the ultimate. The shockwave is coming. They're going to try to get over to the Braum. Braum actually ends up dying. That's a double kill. And Jin is the last one alive. Jin is going to have to flash over. And they are not going to attempt to dive him. So that is a 2-for-1. Actually, no, sorry. Karma actually lives, so a 2 for none.
Oh yeah, that was a 2 for nothing, and that's also going to be a free Infernal Drake, which is going to be taking away a lot of the potential damage from the UMN team, which, as you mentioned before, damage is the main thing they got. So if the CSS Pupperdogs are able to catch up in terms of damage through the Infernal Dragon, then they will really be disregarding the whole fact that UMN out-damages them.
Oh, I'm sorry. We actually do see a lot of damage going onto the Corki, or onto the Orianna. Corki does end up getting the kill. He needs one more auto attack to get over there, but Rek'Sai will be able to burrow out of the way and live. So that does end up giving Corki a kill. You know, not bad. Corki does need to get those kills to get started, and he does actually have his phase, so he is going to go ahead and try to get that Triforce as soon as possible, and that will help out a lot.
Yeah, well, no, I feel like it's gonna be a Black Cleaver, not a Triforce.
You think it's gonna be a Black Cleaver first?
For
because he
Kled?
has the Sapphire Crystal.
Oh, I thought you were talking about Kled. Sorry, my bad.
No, I'm talking about Corki.
Okay, sorry, my bad. I thought you were talking about Kled, because I heard you mention Phage, and I heard you mention Trinity Force. I was like, no, Kled doesn't build Trinity Force. He has no mana.
Kled is doing a lot of damage, having to force Maokai to flash once again. Maokai is having a terrible time up here. He definitely needs some support from his Rek'Sai, but Rek'Sai is actually having to see that Graves is right there, and he's not going to be able to do much.
Meanwhile, we do see that because of that pressure, this is going to be a potential a lot of damage going on to the top tower if they decide to push in real heavily. And we see the Demolisher is heading towards the bot side. However, he will probably get spotted out by the ward that's right by the red buff camp. He is just barely spotted. Yeah, he is spotted, so they know he is down there. They know to play a little bit safer and not go too aggressive. Meanwhile, it looks like Burning Case is getting ready with a potential teleport down there because he's not leaving base. He's kind of just waiting and looking for a potential... No, it doesn't look like he wants to teleport in.
No,
It'd be a really good opportunity if Demolisher came down to gank, then they could turn it into a 3v3.
Yeah, that could have been a good opportunity, but he's not going to go ahead and do it. Rek'Sai is warding up the bottom side of the red jungle to make sure that there's nothing going on with the Graves at all. But I do have to give credit to this Kled. Once again, he's doing so much damage and getting Maokai. He's not being able to really do much. He is getting a lot of armor and a lot of health. He is going for that Sunfire Cape, but with the way this is going, Kled is 30 CS ahead of him. And we do see a little bit of, poking and everything going on in the bot lane right now. We do see that the ultimate is going to go ahead and be popped onto Karma. Karma's taking so much damage, and Jin is actually going to get the kill. Karma is going to go down, and that was a successful gank for UMND. Alright, we do see the Rek'Sai that's actually going to go ahead and try to get onto this Corki, but we do have Graves actually over on this side right here. He's doing a lot of damage. Corki is trying to get over. He's actually going to be saved by the Braum. The Braum isn't going to actually be able to exhaust the Rek'Sai, and Corki will get the kill, as well as Graves being able to solo the Orianna. And that's another kill for Corki and another kill for Graves, so that is 3 for none.
That is a massive event. Like, this game is just turning back and forth. First we see a 2-for-0 towards the Pupperdogs. Now we see a another 2-for-0 now for the UMN team.
Yeah, they are going to go ahead and get the first blood turret for UMA. Is going to get the first blood turret. There's so much damage going on to this Maokai, but Maokai's starting to get a little bit tankier, so Kled is not going to be able to do much of anything to him.
Don't forget that he's building towards Black Cleaver.
No, he hasn't built it yet. So
building towards it, so it'll be done.
No, he is building towards it, so he actually ends up getting it right now as we speak. But the other big power spike right now, Corki just finished his Triforce. Yeah,
that Triforce is going to be doing immense amounts of damage just because Corki also has the missile that allows him to proc the Sheen really easily. And we also see that right now most of the members of UMN are hovering towards the bot side. So I am really curious to see whether or not they go for some pressure down here, or if they're just going to back off, reset, and look to get pressure somewhere else. One thing I do want to point out, though, is that we can see 3 control wards in the bot side jungle of the Pupperdogs. One of them is about to get contested over by Chichaner, possibly 2 if he spots them both out. It's only going to be 1, though. And actually, we can see that Karma, Orianna, and Rek'Sai are all coming in to try and push him off.
Yeah, but he does end up seeing those 3, so he does know that they're there. He's going to go ahead and try to get this other control ward. So he does end up getting 2 out of the 3 control wards that you just spoke of. And he does have the package, so if anyone does decide to go on to him, he will be able to retaliate really well. Yeah, and with that retaliation and removing the vision control that they have, that also means that they'll be having a little more control when the next ring comes up. And already plenty of aggression going between Puffboy and Burning Case. Puffboy being really chunked down. Roughly 20%, I'd say. Yeah, that's the thing, is that's all it's been that entire lane. So it is gonna suck a lot to see that Maokai can't really do much, but we do see that both Graves and Corki end up taking the blue away from Orianna and Rek'Sai, but they are up in the top lane, and if that means that they're gonna be at the top lane, they're gonna give up this dragon for 3. Yeah, and it's gonna be a mountain dragon going over to the Pupperdogs yet again. Which actually I'm kind of surprised that they were able to get some control over this, because before we saw the vision control was towards the side of the UMN team. Yeah, it was on the side of them, but having the Orianna and the Rek'Sai down there while both Kled, Corki, and Graves were up in the top, it is very unfortunate, but it does look like they're going to try to go and invade the jungle a little bit. And it looks like they're actually going to try to go down to the spot lane and gank a little. I don't know what's going on. We're gonna see what happens. Graves is coming in right now, and he's just in there. He doesn't know what to do. It's all 5 of them are there, gonna go ahead and get it. So much miscommunication happening there.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an well, not a little bit. That was very overextended by Rubenescence, and he really shouldn't have been over there. That was a massive mistake, and that only just gives a little bit more pressure over to the side of the Pupperdogs. Even though they have this pressure, they have 2 dragons, they're actually still down plenty of gold. We can see that Burning Case has developed a large lead for himself in the top lane, as well as some other lanes already being far ahead, such as the mid lane between Corki and Oriana.
God, there's so much damage going on to Corki right now. He's actually going to be able, there's a charge coming in. There's so many flashes and everything. Varus is going to get one of the kills. He's actually get the double kill. Rek'Sai went in for some reason, so now he's trying to go in. He's going to get stunned, almost get stunned by the Braum passive, which Oriana's going to go ahead and get the kill onto the Braum, and they are trying to escape right with the skin of their teeth. They are going to get out of there, so it is a 2-for-1. But the Jhin did end up getting those kills, so I do think, honestly, that did favor UMNA a lot more.
Yeah, that I would say that definitely favors UMNA a lot more, also because they're able to push the wave straight towards the turret, which allows them to get pressure in some other lanes and start pushing all around. Plus, as you can see, Burning Case is now heading towards the top lane, where there is a large stack of minions ready for him, which is only going to increase the difference between him and Maokai even more.
Alright, well, we do see that Rubenescence is actually trying to do a lot of counter jungling while Rek'Sai was down at the bot lane. And he is doing a good amount, but Rek'Sai is still in the lead when it comes to CS. But we do see that he is going to go ahead and try to gank this Oriana. Oriana's going to go ahead and use a shockwave and actually get out, but the ultimate from Rubenescence is going to end up getting that kill. So Oriana does end up going down. There's another kill going over to Graves, and that's going to just make Graves a little bit stronger every time.
Especially because he is going for that lethality build, which you mentioned at the start of the day. Lethality is what has been shaping the meta currently. It is such a strong stat. We see that 007 Varus is building it on Jhin. He has the Yomus. He also went and got a Executioner's Calling. My guess is it's for the Warlord's Bloodlust on Ezreal, as well as the Sustain on Puffboy. But other than that, I feel like it was picked up a little too early.
Alright, well, we are going to see that Corki is down at this bot lane once again, doing so much damage and getting deleted. The karma is gone. And that actually did end up going towards the Corki. So Corki getting another kill, and he does have a black BF sword. So I don't know what he's going to actually be going for with that, but we will see momentarily.
My guess is a Trinity Force.
A BF sword and a Trinity. Well, he has the Trinity Force.
Oh, I meant, sorry, I meant Infinity Edge.
Yeah, definitely. I was like, wait, hold on. BF sword has a bit, or goes into Trinity Force? I didn't know this.
Shut up.
There was a new patch. I don't know anything.
Shut up. Alright, I get it. I screwed up.
Don't worry about it. Anyways,
yeah.
We do see the Rift Herald is going to be gone, so there's, no more Rift Herald for anyone. We do see Kled is actually going to go ahead and do, he's not in the lane. He doesn't care. He's going to try his hardest to get this tower that he's been going at all this time, while really no one on the side of Pupperdogs can really do anything. He is just staying around there while everyone else
for a 3-man rotation, which it looks like they're starting to do with Oriana and Rek'Sai, but actually, Burning Case was able to pop that Scrying plant really well timed to spot out both Oriana and Rek'Sai coming up, and then leave for safety. Meanwhile, you can see that Ultimatum is trying to shove out this bot lane real fast. He is in a little bit of a threat from 007 Varus, though. It is a one-on-one, and I'm not too sure who would win in this case. My money would be on 007 Varus, just because he has a stronger build as of right now. Meanwhile, Ultimatum only has the Iceborne Gauntlets really for damage.
Yeah. If it was between... I think you are right on this. 007 Varus would be the one that's going after it, but we see another just ongoing attacks coming from, ongoing ganks coming from this Graves, and Ezreal is going to go ahead and die to the Braum, but that's another tower and another kill going over to UMND, and this tower on the top lane is almost actually down as well, that Kled's been trying to do.
Pretty sure it's going to be down because there's no teleport on that Maokai. So, yep, there it goes. It's going to be 2 towers and a kill over to UMN, and they are now at 7,000 gold ahead most of that gold difference is... Oh, I didn't even realize right now the difference in gold between 007 Bears and Ultimatum is 1,500.
Yeah, there's a lot of damage going on there. Oriana is actually going in, trying to think if she can do something, but she's actually going to get caught out and die to the Corki. Corki is going to try to do a little bit more damage as they are trying to focus onto the Rex side now in that bot lane, but won't be able to do much. Another kill going over to Corki, and that's just amazing. And then Infernal as well. Dragon. And that's exactly what UMNA really need right now. But sorry! Rek'Sai does end up stealing the dragon with the smite because Graves was on the other side of the dragon pit. So they
couldn't have anyone pressure. It should have been Corki, not Graves.
The second Infernal is going to go over to Pupperdogs for the life of Rek'Sai, and I think 100% that was worth.
That is very worth it. However, they're still down by 8,000 gold. They really have to do something soon if they want to come back. They have 3 dragons. They're not utilizing them correctly.
Oh, speaking of utilizing it correctly, right now we do see the curtain call coming down onto the entire team in that mid lane. Not really going to be able to do much. They were trying to go for that Ezreal, but he was able to get away in the nick of time.
Yeah, he was able to get away. Again, we mentioned before that Ezreal is a very slippery AD carry. He has the Arcane Shift and a very low cooldown now that he has about 30% CDR with the S1 Gauntlet and the Boots of Lucidity. And honestly, from this point forward, he's just going to be building raw damage and just getting stronger with every single item. My guess is that after this, he'll probably be going something such as Blade the Rune King, but we won't know until he actually starts building something. Meanwhile, for everyone else, I'm not too surprised by the builds that I'm seeing right now. The only thing that I would say is slightly surprising is the very early pickup of Redemption by Manslice. Just because I don't really think Redemption on Braum is that great. I would prefer seeing a Lock of the Iron Solari or a Knight's Vow.
The Knight's Vow I can understand. I do like the Redemption pickup because remember, Braum can't heal. The only way he can heal is by his his Face of the Mountain, and even that is not even really a good heal. So I don't mind the Redemption pickup because of the engage of the team fights that could be happening, especially with the Rek'Sai and the Maokai just jumping in whenever they want.
Yeah, it's still just like I feel like Lock of the Iron Solari would be much better because you could put a massive shield to negate the burst completely rather than trying to heal it after the fact. Especially because Redemption has that large delay while Lock of the Iron Solari is far more instantaneous. But either way, it looks like that the UMN team wants to try and set up for Baron right now. And actually, they're going to be gaining a fight.
Oh, there's actually the 3-man Shockwave did a lot of damage right there. And Maokai's doing, being able to take a lot. But he is actually going to go ahead and end up going down. Corki does end up going down as well. The curtain call is going to be coming in. 1 kill, that's a double. And it's the triple going as well for Jin as Rek'Sai is trying his hardest to get away, and he actually wasn't able to cross the wall. And he's trying his hardest, but Graves is going to come in. He's going to go ahead and pop the Graves up for the knockup, but he won't be able to get it.
That should be a free Baron.
That is definitely going to be a free Baron. That was 4 for 1. And Maokai did an amazing job with the tanking, but it wasn't enough. Like I said, earlier in this game, it was about the damage that they had, and that's exactly what it was. It does actually look like UMNA are having a little bit of trouble with being able to take this, but they are going to get it in the end without getting anyone, close to death. Or I wouldn't say close to death, but without anyone dying.
Yeah, there were 3 people close to death there, so...
Yeah, 4 for 1 and a Baron. That is definitely a fantastic lead for UMNA, and it's only going to get better now that they're going to most likely push for that mid, push for that inhib, and see what happens from there.
The only reason I had mentioned before that it was likely for them to take the Baron, not necessarily guaranteed, was just because from that earlier Dragon Steel we saw earlier, I didn't want to try and say anything.
That's very true.
Like, we've seen steals happen literally in this game. And already the package going straight onto Ezreal.
And he's doing so much damage, he just deleted Ezreal while Rek'Sai was just heading onto him. And Rek'Sai is actually going to end up going down as well. A 2 for none. And Corky was so close to death. But Corky was like, no, I'm going to definitely kill this carry. And you're not going to say anything about it.
So that is part of the raw damage that we see Corky being able to output that makes him such an amazing meta pick right now. As well as both Graves and Jin having this lethality stacking build. Really doing some work right now. Like, you have to admit, damage that everyone is outputting is insane.
Oh, 100%. And this is exactly what I was talking about, is they have the damage. Once they get started, that's all they need. Kled has been able to destroy this Maokai up in the top lane, and now it does look like they did get the inhib turret as well in that bot lane, so UMNA do have
Not
the
taking the inhib just yet, though.
They didn't take the inhib, but they do have that vulnerable inhib that they can get for later. And they are going to go ahead and rotate towards that mid turret. It is 4 of them.
The thing to be careful with, though,
Maokai.
the thing to be careful with, though, is that Burning Case does have his ultimate up, so he can easily flank from the side and try and lock someone down. It looks like he's trying to set up for that.
Alright, we do see the ultimate coming down from the Braum right there. Rek'Sai trying to go in, but Graves does end up getting a double. And so much damage going onto the Maokai. Maokai wasn't able to do anything there. The double kill going onto the Graves, like I said, and Kled getting that kill onto the Maokai. Graves is trying to get that triple. Won't be able to do much. Resistance flows from Ezreal, but they are going to end up getting the inhib turret in the mid lane, and they're going to go for the bot lane.
It's 8 seconds until their main wave clears up. Orianna is their only real wave clear that exists in this game. So they could try and take some turrets, but it looks like they want to just back off instead.
Very interesting choice. I didn't... Oh, they are going to actually try to go for that Infernal that they tried the last time and weren't able to...
If it gets stolen again. If it gets stolen again.
I don't think so. Rek'Sai is going in over there, so he's making sure that they're not... And no,
oh, that's way too fast.
Damage was too much.
That was in a heartbeat. Did you see the 1500 crits from
I didn't see a dragon, that's what I'm telling you right now. I didn't see anything. I don't know what you're talking about right now.
True, that was... Let me see, I'm looking over a replay right now. Let me count how long that was. That's, 2.5 seconds.
2.5 seconds of dragon. Yeah, like I said, I didn't see anything. But
that was a 2.5 second dragon.
The last Infernal will go over to UMNA as of right now. So we do have... It is 22-7 in the favor of UMNA. 16k gold lead, 8 turrets, and Pupperdogs haven't taken a turret at all.
Frankly, I feel like this game is over. I do not see a way for the Pupperdogs to come back from this. If they do somehow, it would have to be within like a 20-minute time span. There's no way they can just win one team fight and then come back immediately. But even then, they have all the carries of their team really fed. And even Kled is really fed off of pure farm. Just look at that farm that he has. He has 220 farm. Granted, it's at 30 minutes. It's actually a little bit behind than you would see in much more higher tier play. But comparing it to everyone else in this game...
Oh, so much damage! Corky was just able to delete someone, but Orianna was able to delete the Corky right after that. They're trying their hardest right now. Actually ends up getting... Ezreal ends up dying to the curtain call from the Jhin, and Graves does get taken out by the Maokai. And Graves actually does end up flashing over, trying to get the Orianna. He does maybe get... No, he does stay alive for a little bit longer. Kled is now tanking towers just to try to get this Orianna, but it does look like
still on Scarl. I'm surprised. I'm surprised that Kled was still on Scarl that whole time. Now the real question is... Well...
No, I'm sorry. This is how it's gonna be.
No. I'll wait till it ends to say what the real question is, because it's the first thing that we're going to discuss. Oh, wait, what? It's not actually ending.
No, they're actually going to try to end this right now. They're doing so much damage. Scarl,
there it is, okay.
Into the sunset, and UMNA will pick up the win for the last game of today.
Yeah, and that does mean, I believe that they were same rating as well. It was both 1-1?
Yes, they were both 1-1.
And that means that now UMN is going to be 2-1, while the CSS Pupperdogs are going to be 1-2. And what I was going to say for the real question of the game is just going to be, who is the MVP? Because there are so many powerful people within that game. I want to give it to Corky, but I was also, well, to Chainer on Corky, but I'm also extremely impressed by the performance from 007 Varus, as well as Revenescence. Like, they all did so good. So did Burning Case. Everyone on the team did amazing. I'm not going to ignore Manslice. Manslice, you also did really good. The only thing that I'm slightly down here on is I'm not too happy with the early redemption pickup. I would have preferred seeing Lockett, but it's nitpicking. Either way.
Anyways, you got to choose one person. I'm actually going to give it to Rivenessence, and the only reason why is Rivenessence did a fantastic job in that early game, being able to get those ganks off really well, being able to get those people, get his Jin, his Corky, even like Manslice, like you said, they were able to get kills. They were able to get them ahead and started. So because these guys were doing so much damage, it all goes to Rivenessence. He did amazing with all the ganks he did, being able to get gank, do damage, and tank at the same time. I'm gonna give it to Rivenessence.
I think I want to give it to Chainer, just because his performance on Corky was astounding, and you even saw the damage he was doing late game. You saw the picks he went for, especially when he took the package down bot lane and literally killed Ezreal faster than they killed that Infernal Dragon. Plus, I would give it to Rivenessence, remember for the fact that he lacked Dragon Control. That's the only thing I'd really criticize him for. And if they had better Dragon Control, then I would honestly say that they should have won the game much sooner. Just because they had a advantage from around, I'd say like the 18-minute mark. I think it was around there, wouldn't you agree?
I believe there's a graph for that.
There is, I'm just not looking at it right now.
I'll look at the graph. Gold earned. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, because I remember it was right around when both Corky and Clyde hit their power spikes with the Black Cleaver and Triforce, which I believe it was right around 18 minutes that they got that, plus they're halfway to the next item. But either way, that is going to be game number 3, ending week 3. We do have quite a bit of time to talk more about things. It is only 9:38. Technically, we have 22 minutes before the stream has to end. So, one thing I want to talk about, for the teams that won, do you think they should stick to the way that they've been playing, which most of them played very aggressive early game, would take their lead and would go for jungle control, warring up in the enemy jungle and simply taking it as their own? Do you think that style of play is good and will stay consistent for trying to have good performances in later weeks? Or do you think they'll have to try and continue learning, continue adjusting to make sure they stay ahead of the other teams?
For everyone that won today, they did one thing really well, is that they were able to apply pressure. And the thing is, for the teams that lost, they have to adjust. For the teams that won, they have to keep doing what they're doing, but spicing up a little bit. So I don't see any problems with what they did. They're just going to have to spice it up as the weeks go on, because the other teams will start learning and start being able to counter that.
Okay, and what do you think the teams that were mostly losing? Let's go through the teams that lost one by one. So let's go reverse order. The Pupperdogs, what do you think is the main thing that they should improve on? My own opinion, I'd say for overall every team, ward control. Every team that lost lacked vision control. And that's something that they had to work on. Pupperdogs had really good vision control early on in order to allow them to get the dragons. But once they started to fall behind, they simply forgot about it.
Ward control is a really good thing, and I do agree with you on that. For what I do want to say for Pupperdogs is that their early game was really what their downfall was. Is there wasn't really any pressure that was going on to that top lane. Kled was doing a lot of damage. Kled was pushing. He was trying to do everything. And yes, there was a gank, I believe, up top at one point, but that was it. There was nothing else that really happened after that. There was no pressure from the jungler as much as it should have been, as well as everyone's early game was kind of lacking. So I will say that Pupperdogs' early game was kind of their downfall.
Yeah, that I can definitely agree with. Their overall early game performance was lacking, but I'd say their objective control was better early game than it was later on. And let's go into the next game. The next game was Winona losing. So what do you think Winona should work on? Again, I would actually say Winona had pretty good vision control, but the thing they lacked was team cohesion. That's what I would say. They lacked team cohesion in the sense where they didn't seem nearly as coordinated as other teams should be, and they never really seemed to fully commit to a play when they wanted to go for one.
Well, if I do remember correctly, there was a substitution for their support, so I do kind of give them that. I understand that, but I do agree. I think it's not team cohesion; it was the communication that needed to probably be a little bit better. There was a few misplays that happened where I think it was a little bit of miscommunication that happened, but it definitely was warding and their communication that probably would have been a little bit better. That could have gotten them even like a closer game than it was the second game.
Yeah, that is a very good point. To more elaborate on that, I feel like something that Winona also lacked was picks and bans. Just because I didn't like the Nautilus supports. I just, simply put, did not like the idea of it. Did not seem to really perform that well. And it just overall felt... Wait, no, am I thinking the right game? Yeah, I am. It felt lacking in the sense where they didn't utilize Nautilus' full capabilities. They simply had him looking for picks. When Nautilus himself, he has so much utility by simply just auto-attacking people, and they didn't seem to use that for peel. They used it for picks, but they didn't use it for peel, which is the thing that they were really lacking on their team. Like we mentioned before, they have the opportunity to use Poppy to try and stop the Kha'Zix, stop the Alistar, but they forgot they can also use Nautilus for that. Because they were oftentimes trying to have Poppy be their engage and be their picks, but then they would have Nautilus follow up, they would have everyone follow up, and just leave their backline empty without anyone to protect them, which then you would just see Kha'Zix jump back in there and murder them. Is there anything you want to add to that one, or should we move on to the
I think you did pretty well on that. I have nothing to add to that.
All right, well then our last game was between UMD Nova and the UMN Ganked by Gophers, which ended up being Nova losing, putting them at 0-3. And for that one, the biggest thing I'd want to point out again is vision control.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like another issue they had was their top lane matchup. The whole Scion into the Shen, it wasn't played outright, partially because they had Scion build mostly armor, even though Shen deals magic damage with his Q, which that's the main source of damage. And we saw with that whenever there's a trade between Scion and Shen, it was oftentimes in favor of the Shen.
Okay, so for that game, I don't feel like to specifically pick out one person. I do agree with you that it was a little unorthodox for him to actually do a little bit of armor over the magic damage, but you do have to remember that a lot of the auto attacks that he does, it does enhance his attack damage. So
that's true.
I do give him that for building the armor. That game was a lot closer. I do want to say that I
think part of it was also the focus on trying to kill out Victor. Like they didn't really seem to focus the threats.
I will agree with that.
Okay.
It's not that, it's they got caught with the Blitzcrank. Blitzcrank was, I want to say, which was a really unfortunate part, was their kryptonite for that one, because being caught by the Blitzcrank so many times, they isolated that one person and were able to get those picks. If they didn't really get caught by him, or if they allowed him to get caught, like Scion get caught by him, it would have helped out a lot more, and they were able to engage on that. So I will say that it wasn't them really as much it was the Blitz.
Yeah, that I'll also really agree with. I just like that one I'm having the most trouble with because it was the first game of the day, but now that you mention it does recollect, and I will agree with you. I'll actually drop my previous point about the whole top lane matchup because it was still played out pretty evenly. Both of them had very good pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And I will move over to more focusing on they didn't focus the threat enough, and they also got picked off too much. So they didn't really ward properly to counteract the Blitzcrank to get vision on where he is. And they didn't properly dodge the hooks, in a sense, where they could have, especially the two biggest hooks from Wiki that I can remember was one in the bot lane where he picked off Ashe and literally got a free kill for a kill between Rengar Rengar, who was the other person? It was Ash versus Caitlyn. So Rengar, Caitlyn, and Blitz threw the hook over the wall. Do you remember that one?
Yes, I do remember.
That's what started off the lead towards the bot lane and allowed Caitlyn to start becoming more powerful and get that siege tool that she needed. And the other hook that I remember was towards the end of the game when he was able to pick off Ahri mid-Spirit Rush,
Yes.
which that was definitely the game-defining hook right there, because without that, it would have allowed Ahri to escape and potentially continue trying to pick off people, which we saw that Nerf Akali was doing immense amount of damage in those late-game team fights, and she had to get stopped. Wiki was able to do that, so I will agree with you that the Blitzcrank was the kryptonite for that team.
All right. Well, with that said and done, we are going to go ahead and end the stream for now. I do appreciate everyone that was watching and stayed up with us until the end. Do remember that we will continue this up with week 4, day 1, next Tuesday at, I was at 8 Central, correct?
It's 7 Central.
7 Central. I'm sorry. I am in a different time zone, so I don't remember. 7 Central. So do remember to come back here. We will be on was it 6:45 Central is when we will start, and 7 Central is when the games will start. So do, we can't wait to see you then. Until then, thank you everyone for watching the MNLCS, and we will see you next time.
One last thing we have to mention again, it was brought to you by Invade, bringing some of the best apparel in Minneapolis and overall Minnesota area, as well as it was brought to you by your casters today, the player being Dreamer and colorcaster being FenFan. Have a good night, everyone.
Thank you.